obviously Willis's and your Caliterans and your Amos's, but also playing in an era where all the greats of the world played, Viv, Joel.
And welcome back to the last session of the day from Newlands. Ben Stokes is just making his way out to the middle with his red-headed partner, Ollie Pope. Two redheads at the crease together in Cape Town. When has that happened before in a test match? If they got anything like the same result, well, England could do with that, because they are 149 for 4. Crawley went early. Sibley did what he does, which is look promising, look solid, but then sadly nicked off to Rabada. Denley was bowled by Kisa Maharaj, and Joe Root was also caught behind by Quintin de Kock off the bowling of Nortje. So Stokes and Pope at the crease. The sky is still blue. There are very short shadows just tracking the players. Our friend the Ibis is still looking for worms on the watered outfield. And Kisha Maharaj will take up the attack from the Kelvin Grove end. And that first ball is just pushed away to wide mid-on by Ollie Pope. We will jingle up the batsmen and the bowlers in any sequence that John Batham, to my right, would care to do them in. What are you going for first? You might have to wait as Maharaj comes in, works his way around the bear. And there was no run. But he made the switch. But he's comes Maharaj again, worked off his legs to backward square by Maharaj. He felt he was pretty close there. He was whipped around the corner by Pope, and well, if that had he hadn't laid bat on that, and we did play it rather late, I think Pope would have been a goner. But he did play it. That was the key thing. There's a slip in place. There is. This is just pushed away to cover. There's a silly mid-off and a slip. Well, kind of not really a silly mid-off, more of a sort of an off Hayden, as we would call it, halfway down the track there. There's all kinds of action going on around me. The sound is on as this one's whipped away through mid-wicket by Ollie Pope. They'll take one. They think about two, and probably quite rightly decide that wouldn't be such a good idea. The crowd, the window's been opened, the crowd have been activated. The sound card, I'm not quite sure what the status on the sound card is. I thought I had pictures of this sound card, this famous sound card, being a tiny little thing, but apparently it's quite a chunky piece of equipment.
It's
one of those things,
big
is it?
Flashing lights on it.
It's got big flashing lights.
Which you can see if you're from my position over
well,
here.
yeah, no, I can see it now. So where are we in sound card? Is it all working now? Everything's fantastic. The 150 is up. That's a key number for England. And this partnership so far is working. Maharaj is going to be left arm over the wicket, pushed back on the full to him by Ben Stokes. And there's no run. So 150 for 4. Who's back with us after their tea?
Conway Bernski says, in the voice of Captain Blackadder, yeah, the plan, everyone getting 300 is a great plan, Baldrick. The only issue I see is Bess, Broad and Anderson. I don't think Bess is a problem. He'll probably get 30.
Bess can bat a bit, as we've seen previously for England, of course, haven't we? There's a fair old breeze. That South African flag, the rainbow flag, is... well, it's not much just fluttering, it's billowing, isn't it? You call that a billow rather than a flutter, wouldn't you, John?
Yeah, there's a bit more energy about it.
Yep.
Well, we did promise to jingle up the batsmen, so
okay.
Here is the Pope.
He's going to face Vernon Philander, who's right arm over the wicket, and as you would expect from Vernon Philander, on the money straight away, a ball just maybe marginally short of a length outside of off stump, swinging away a little bit, and Ollie Pope has the good sense to let it by. 150 for 4. We are in the 59th over. This should be, with the Kookaburra ball, once it gets past 50 overs, or even 40 overs really, you feel that that's when the runs should come more freely. England will be ruining the loss of wickets. Two slips go down, and there's a half-hearted appeal from the bowler, a much more full-blooded appeal from Quentin de Kock. And whilst DRS is ticking, I don't think there is real interest from Faf du Plessis or Quentin de Kock. And indeed, nothing will happen. Let's have a look. It was it really moved off the seam and off the pitch.
Missed it by quite some distance.
And he did, as John says, he missed it by no small amount as far as we could see. But what will interest James Anderson and Stuart Broad and to a certain extent Ben Stokes as well and Sam Curran was just how much movement there was off the wicket. Philander in again, fuller and driven beautifully between cover and extra cover by Ollie Pope. He just leant into that and caressed it away through cover for one of these. Perhaps just a little over pitch there, Jason, do you think? But it was it's absolutely gorgeous. Actually, he was always well down the track.
The one thing Ollie Pope does, he does get a long way forward for a man who's quite short in stature.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that.
He does commit very fully to the forward or back.
Well, he did.
It's a really good stride, but he waits for the ball as well.
In comes Philander again, and not surprisingly, a little fuller this time. And Pope.
We've got thumbs up.
There's no run.
Clive Brooks and Adrian Lowe both say sound is crackle free on tune-in. The sound is so much better.
Oh, well, that's...
Perkins says good riddance to the crackling bastards.
Well, we
and
were.
Gorilla Sounders chipped in as well. He says, I'm feeling all fresh and perky.
Oh,
However,
good.
I have no memory of the previous 289,080,000 words. Let's start all over again.
I'm glad. I'm glad someone took our number seriously. There was some science in it, which Jason can talk you through in a little while. As this one's driven away through cover. I don't think it's going to go all the way. It's not. It's going to be hauled in. They'll take 2. I don't think 3 was ever fully on the cards. So Pope will move on to 12. Ben Stokes on 28 and 156 for England. What did we do, Jason? We worked.
I'm not sure you'd call it science. It was just a case of some very, very, very general assumptions in that the card is working all the time because we're streaming it all the time.
Very good. Yeah, that was one assumption we made. We
and
have
the
to
other
make
assumption
assumptions.
the other main assumption was that we were how long? How many
100,
words?
we went for 100 words a minute, didn't we?
Yeah.
This was taking the outside edge of Pope, but he kept it down. It was away through a gully, and they will take 2 more. So there are signs that England are trying to make a bit of hay now that this Kookaburra ball is perhaps a little bit less dangerous.
There was
That
one
said, it's moved.
last assumption is that the amount of time spent by playing jingles would be counteracted by the amount of time people were talking over each other.
Yes. Well, in jingles count as words there. So they are still words conveyed by the sound chart. Yeah, so I think we went for 100 words a minute, which may possibly be low, but then
continuously
you do
for
have
5.5 years.
we then obviously multiplied that up by hours and hours in a day. We simplified our life by also saying, well, even when we're not commentating on a match, there will be highlights playing. So we are actually broadcasting effectively for 24 hours a day over 5.5 years. The rest was straightforward maths from there. As in comes Maharaj, left arm over the wicket, and Stokes nicely forward. And there is no run.
It's very well worked out, chaps.
Well, you see, Jason's just got one of those minds, I think.
I have a problem-solving mind.
He has a problem-solving mind.
That doesn't mean I want to take things apart.
No, he comes Keisha Maharaj again, and Stokes waits for it. Just works it away down to square leg, but there is no run.
Perhaps we should set you to work, Jason, on the problems of England's batting. See if you can resolve that.
Difficult problems, yes. I'm not sure he can deal with miracles. Flicked through mid-wicket by Stokes, but he doesn't really get all of it. And there is a man down there at deep mid-wicket anyway. I think it's Pretorius. and they will probably limit themselves to a single. They do. It'll bring the Pope of Surrey.
I think the problems of England's batting are, in most senses, political and rather than philosophical or technical.
Oh, philosophical. Maharaj around the wicket, down the track comes Pope, but he doesn't really. He ends up pushing it really to mid-on, where Kagiso Rabada is stationed in his splendid South African cap. I have a feeling Pope was considering something a little more belligerent there, and then rather reined himself in. That one's flicked away wristily, and our friendly Ibis nearly wore that one, but it sort of bounced over him, and Stokes will get himself a single.
I think we're lucky that the ball didn't hit him, otherwise
it would have been an ex-Ibis. Yeah.
The beak would have done some damage to the ball.
Well,
indeed.
As indeed will have been the same will have been said of Nasser. I think we settled on calling him Nasser the Ibis. 161 for 4. And Pope on 15, Ben Stokes on 30. Maharaj has 1 for 40. Bowled tidily. Certainly got one key wicket. Ollie Pope, he's a study in concentration. Slip goes down that. But short mid-off is awaiting, but that's pushed to point. And there is no run. That concludes the 17th over from Kisa Maharaj. 161 for 4 England. Now, an average score on day one, which I think we've conveyed before at Newlands, is 269 for 8, actually. So England, I think, would be super disappointed. They'd settle for less than the average in terms of runs, but they'd be massively disappointed if they'd lost 8, I think. And we will let you know where things. Obviously, the GPL closed at lunchtime, didn't it? We definitely had a few. Did we have anyone actually on that average number, John? Are you able to tell us?
Well, there were several in the vicinity. We were told.
I couldn't remember if anyone had actually gone on the money for the average. I think that's going
to be a bit ambitious, unless.
In the meantime, I'll catch up some tweets. Dr. Dan sent us a nice sketch of Heinrich Nortje catching, which are very nice, and I shall retweet. And Arthurshire has said, for the final session of the day, I've got you on the telly and some very sexy cheese, which he's sent a picture of as well.
Some very sexy cheese? Yes. Ooh, what is it?
What looks like
cheese are we accompanying this?
It's a marbled sort of...
Stokes was forward just to push this away to cover. Sorry, you had
it's like a Stilton, but it's more blue than white, if you want to know.
Can we see? Let's have a look at it. Is this us on the telly with the cheese? Ooh. Oh, yeah. Actually, now, come on, Arthurshire, because you've completely obscured John. You can see me through the cheese wrapping, so I've been all sort of weirdly pixelated.
I'm out of focus as well.
And at least, but Jason seems to have got the full... It's Jason and the Cheese, basically, that well-known band. As Philander comes in, right arm around the wicket, and forward comes Stokes, pushes it.
I know I've been called cheesy before, but that's not what I was
actually
going for.
With a marbled cheese.
I'm quite happy to be obscured by the cheese, by the way.
Well, you were, John, you were.
That's absolutely fine. We did promise to...
we've got to jingle up this
jingle up
well.
Stokesy, yes.
And one and the bowler.
I got out Ben Stokes, and he called me a oh, if I'd only seen that Ben Stokes was so mean, and he called me up, said he punched my...
That's enough of that.
Said I made
Fade it now, fade it.
The arm looked up and said, "You angry redhead, you'll get fined again."
Okay, I will try and help you next time.
I need a tutorial in
you
fading.
Do a bit of fading. It can be done.
A tutorial of fading.
It can be done. So I wonder if Stokes walked to the wicket, John, remembering his last magnificent effort with Johnny Bairstow. Admittedly in a draw when both sides of course scored like 600 within about 15 of each other, weren't they, in the end?
I guess it's hard not to have that in your head
Philander,
somewhere, isn't it?
Philander flicks this away to mid-wicket. Is it going to go all the way? It is. It's 4 runs.
It is.
The bear has appeared, looking perplexed. A perplexed looking bear.
We don't need that. A perplexed bear.
He played that quite delightfully, didn't he?
He did, beautifully.
Just weight forward, head over the ball, and let the ball do the work as it came onto the bat. Super shot by the young Pope, my ecclesiastical brother. As Philander is in, and Pope plays this late, waits for it, just guides it into the offside.
But yeah, going back to Stokes, I think it would be impossible to walk out and not have any thoughts about that, wouldn't it? Because you're in that context, you're in that environment.
So Ollie Pope's got, as red-headed batsmen go, he's got quite a task to live up to now. Can he be the Bairstow of 2020
and score 150?
And score 150 odd while Ben Stokes rattles up 260 odd, and well, yes, so waited for by Stokes. Actually, I'm going to have a look, because although I know the answer already, how much was that? If we look at England's partnerships at Newlands,
399.
Obviously this was a record. It was indeed. It was a 6-wicket. It was 399 indeed.
It's something like
31st
80
December.
overs,
No,
70 overs.
Was the 31st. It was the 2nd of January 2016. That's when it was. And
well, that's when it started.
It's the record 6-wicket at Newlands. It's the England record 6-wicket partnership. Is it a world record as well?
Probably not. Some tweets, some shout-outs from Crick Tracker. Lalith Subramanian says good morning. Anik Tiwari says hello from India. Abdul Salam says hey, hello from Bangladesh. And more after the next ball.
Here comes Maharaj. Gives this one some air, and it moves back in to the left-handed Stokes.
Quite a lot.
And that really did genuine leg break from Maharaj.
Kamran Khan says hello from Pakistan. Mohammed Mukhtar
And he comes
waves
again,
at us.
and this one is flicked away, but flicked straight to mid-wicket by Stokes, who's looking, he's prowling a little bit like a caged lion there at the moment. You have a feeling that he wants to get after Maharaj, but Maharaj has just been too canny for him. Down the track comes Stokes, and again, having taken those 2 steps forwards, you felt he might be about to launch, but he slammed on the anchors and just dropped the bat on it. 166 for 4.
Pananciel Jaro says hello. Nice.
Hello, and nice, and welcome.
Dutta Dharma Sutta says India is
Maharaj
best.
in again, pushed away to mid-on by Ben Stokes. He's still on 31. Maharaj has looked economical, occasionally, but not consistently penetrative. This one does hurry Stokes a little bit, and Faf du Plessis, who's there at first slip, has both arms in the air, head toss back.
Isn't that the aim of every spinner, to be economical and occasionally penetrative?
Well, absolutely. Yes, indeed it is. Indeed it is.
That's the raison d'etre nowadays.
166 for 4. Past umpire Dharmasena comes Maharaj. That's flicked to backward of square leg. And they will take a single. So
but he's done a really good job since lunch, because he's wheeled away quite a lot from one end and enabled them to rotate at the other end and potentially attack a bit more. He's got a wicket. He's given them control. He's done exactly what they would want him to do, really.
Absolutely true.
Oh, the bear is still looking perplexed.
Still a worried
lion.
I get worried if I see a worried-looking bear. Oh, yeah, this... Is that what you're looking for? Well, you should have said. I've been nurturing it for you, looking after it. Occasionally accidentally putting my elbow on it. 166 for 4. We are in the 63rd over, and that 63rd over is going to be bowled by the mighty Vernon Philander. 1 for 34 for him today. This is just eased into the offside by Pope, no run.
Gang Jahan says good luck. Vikram Tiwari says hello from the British city of Nainital from India. Babu K says hello from India as well. And
Hello to you.
Nanda Kishore Krupal says thanks for the live audio commentary. Thank you very much.
pleasure.
Bafidar says hello from India. Vikram Tiwari says wonderful commentary you guys are doing.
That's very kind. As Philander turns at the Weinberg end and comes into bowl past Paul Rifle, and that one hurried through past Pope, but I think he was quite deliberate in his leave, and it's through to Quentin de Kock.
And we have news from Arthurshire about the cheese, he says.
And it is.
It is Irish Porter Cheddar for the curious.
Oh,
In terms of picture composition, I try to adhere to classical principles such as Botticelli used, and the great cricket commentators obscured by Cheeseworks.
excused by Cheeseworks. What was it? A porter cheddar?
Yes.
No.
Porter as
Irish.
in porter beer, I think.
Oh, okay.
So it's
So,
cheese,
well,
with,
when you say
cheese
mottled.
with Guinness, basically.
Oh, okay. So it's not like it does. It's not a mature.
Interesting.
As this one's forward comes Pope. Just bang on a length, as you would expect from Philander. It's away into the offside. So it's not a blue cheese, is what. When you first described it as mottled, I had visions of blue veins, but clearly not. It's a cheddar with beer in. I suppose we should get some of that for here. If we ever run out of real beer, we could just score it. We could just go to the bear. Well, we've got some cheese. Got beer in. Can you imagine the bear sucking on a piece of cheese?
Would
He's so
that-
desperate
that
to get the
work,
beer
though?
out. Well, I very much doubt it would
I don't
satisfy.
think it would.
I'd rather go to the source.
Yeah. In comes Philander, and that was a ball. That was a ball on a fullish length, and sort of squirted away a little bit into the offside by Ollie Pope, and there was no run.
And Jeff Perkins replies, that sounds like an alternative translation. My version was called the Cheesy Cricket Commentary Triptych.
Oh, righto. Let's see how he's been going. He's been getting a bit more expensive, hasn't he? Has Philander? He's first session just over 2, second session of 4 overs bang on 2, and this third session he's gone for just over 4. But that's the Kookaburra for you. And forward comes Pope. It's a way to point. Hamza is the man there, and there's no run.
Well, he's got 2 middle order batsmen in now rather than 2 top order batsmen.
Well, he does. You've got later in the day, he's a bit more tired. The ball's not as hard. A combination of factors that means you would expect England to speed up. By that 268, let me see, we're 166 now, so they'd have to get another 102 in this last session. I suppose that's doable, isn't it?
I
As,
don't
this
think
is-
that will happen.
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen. That is on the drive by Pope, but driven straight to mid-off. And that concludes that 14th, the 13th over from Vernon Philander.
Phil Dodsworth, replying to Cricket Jim, says the TalkSport comms team is actually not too bad. Butcher, Nicholas, Goff, Harmison, Pollock, etc.
Yeah, I don't
Apart
think
from the
that's a bad
annoying
lineup at
Saffron
all.
Mansford, he screams at every chance and every wicket in a not very impartial way either, as if it's a slam down in WWE.
Oh,
Hashtag pipe down.
quite right. Quite
It's
right.
a bit of a slam. That's it yourself there.
As a what? Sorry.
Bit of a slam.
A slam?
He's
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes. Oh, that was shorter. Oh, and pulled, but pulled straight to square leg.
it's that man Malan again.
And I think it is the new boy who's got. He's holding up his hand. It was
hit him in the
slammed
chest?
into the turf. No, it was taken on the first bounce, went through his fingers and into his midriff.
Ouch.
It was Hamza actually, and that one's pushed into the onside. Sorry, no run. Yeah, but I think Hamza held up his hands because he has like literally every finger has got plasters on, and
Yes, he is
he
well
was
taped.
making
isn't
making the points that that will have hurt him. plenty of air from Maharaj. Onto the back foot goes
A
Stokes.
little bit of turn.
That A turned and B gave Ben Stokes the hurry up. We are having a look at Hamza's. It's his right hand. I think he has tape on 3 fingers, and one finger of his left hand flicked off his legs by Stokes, but again straight to Hamza, who's being kept well occupied there at square leg. Dean Elgar and he seem to both have plenty of cause for amusement. In comes Maharaj, flicked by Pope, diving stop. Who was that? Was that Elgar?
Yes,
Diving
it was.
away to his right. And it means England are frustrated. Was it Kent that Dean Elgar came in and made a lot of runs for a while? Surrey, I know
Surrey,
them.
yes.
But did he go from Kent to Surrey? Oh, down the track comes
Goodbye.
Stokes. He has got all of that. You have a feeling he's been itching to do that for a while, and that's just lifted back over the bowler's head for one of these. One of these.
Come on, twice again. How annoying.
Oh, never mind. Not to worry. Let me. Anytime you want, extracurricular jingle training, then I obviously
definitely
I'll
need
find
some
someone
of
that can do it for you. But most people would tell you it wouldn't be me.
Definitely need some of that.
Ben Stokes, my goodness me! You just knew though, Jason, that he's been agitated.
He's been ticking
to
for a
do
while.
that shot, hasn't he?
Our very own Nestle boy, Attitude
Nestle's.
Lux, said went to Granada this morning, now back in the mountains and nesting in.
Oh.
And says there's a picture of Granada and some using a dog as a pillow, effectively.
Using a dog as a pillow.
Well, if you look at that,
Oh.
you can see the dog is sort of
Yeah.
trying to lick his ear, but it also looks like he's using it as a pillow.
For anyone looking at that on Twitter, then Nestle Boy is the one in the cap. 172 for 4.
And Arthur also says, if you remind me a day or two in advance, I'll send you some cheese for the next test.
Arthur Shear, you are on. We don't like to remind you though. That's a bit sort of impolite, isn't it? Going, oi, you remember that cheese you promised us? Where is it? Come on.
Where's my
We are though going to have a change of bowling. It's going to be Nortje, whose name I thoroughly enjoy saying now.
If your number one project is to have yourself a bride, I think I've got your number one guy. He was bought by a franchise when he was buying meat. It's Henrik Nortje.
Oh, he's Nortje in this one, just as I
Nortje.
thought I'd got it right. Well, he's bowling from the Weinberg end anyway. And he's bowling to Ollie Pope, right arm over, and Ollie Pope just gets a big front foot forward, lifts the bat high above his head, and the ball is through to Quintin de Kock behind the stumps.
More shout-outs from Quick Tracker, Ahmed Al-Khori, Kasimu Uban Love, and Gopinan Gopi all say hello.
Hello, and most importantly, a very warm welcome to you. We are delighted you are with us. This partnership has been 45 runs now from 100 balls faced, and it really was what England needed. And they need to keep it going, of course. 2 slips go down. Nortje in, pulled by Pope. And he certainly didn't get that where he wanted it to go. It's ended up being half stopped by Philander at mid-on, who then has to sort of jog after it and finish his work.
Well, he saw that so early. They hit it almost to a strapple back to mid-on.
And the net result was that they ended up
could be
just taking
horrible.
a single, I think. Yeah.
Could have been horrible.
Did it bounce into the ground and then up and over?
No,
Philander?
it's-
Let's have a look.
No, it's gone straight
It's
over
gone-
Philander's
Oh,
head.
over his head.
But
Well,
only
in that
just.
case, he basically just chipped him off a top edge. Nortje has his hand to his mouth in an almost Broadian expression of surprise.
I think,
Chucking my
I think
notes
if
all
I
over
was
the place.
Ollie Pope, I'd put that shot away.
Yes, he needs to show some application here. England are not where they would want to be, certainly not in terms of the wickets column as forward comes Stokes. Nortje is able to take a couple of paces to his right to field off his own bowling.
Talking about your jingling credentials, Jeff Perkins
Oh
says,
Lord, here we go.
do you mean the Tony Bishop Academy of Jingling diploma isn't worth the pixels it was photoshopped on?
Very
Well,
nice.
no, no. I mean, it will still have worth, obviously.
I think it has as much worth as it had before, to be fair.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I do know how to fade a jingle, if that's any help.
That would be very useful.
Well, I will try and tell you in just a moment as Nortje's in around a wicket.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
and that climbed on Ben Stokes, who took one hand off the bat, did well to keep it down. And he does have this in his armoury, does Nortje. He's got that extra pace. He's a
Every
good
now and
old-fashioned fast bowler, really, isn't he,
Every now
in
and
many
then,
ways.
one's going to hit the seam and do something.
Well, that's precisely what happened there, and it really caused Stokes to drag away that left hand. But the bottom hand, he caught it, he took it on the bottom hand. That's why he had to move it back in such a hurry. And that, I suspect, even with that huge amount of padding, he will have felt that. In comes Nortje again. Cut by Ben Stokes. Got half a hand on it, did the man at point, but that's not, at cover, but that's not going to stop that going away for 4 runs. What a shot. Next time, you just drag that down. Drag the little button down. That's it, you got it, you found it. So anyway, that 177 for 4. That's 50 runs, that partnership of 104 balls, 4 sixes, 6 fours, 1 6. So important indeed for England. As Stokes guides this away through mid-wicket. There is a man down there on that mid-wicket boundary. They will just take a single. Or was that Pope?
Perko has also
That
come
was
back
Pope,
with
actually. That was the end
Tony.
of the over.
Daylight savings doesn't fade jingles. That is just a suburban myth.
Daylight savings, what? Doesn't fade jingles. Oh, very good. Doesn't fade jingles. I like it. I like it. Very good. So we're not quite on as even yet in my book. Jason,
No.
what do you think, John?
No, I think we're still a bit behind.
England behind the 8 ball. Yeah.
I think if we get to 225, we haven't lost another wicket, I think we might call ourselves pretty much even at that point.
Yeah, we're a wicket behind the 8 ball at the moment. I
England, of course, won at the first ever Test match to be played at this ground in Cape Town. It was 1898, and England won by no less than an innings and 202 runs. It was a shocking period, really. Well, it was just the early days of South African cricket, really, wasn't it? They got South Africa out in the first innings for 47. With Johnny Briggs, not the actor who went on to star in Coronation Street.
Koyo Matting as well, perhaps.
Jason, I don't know. I wasn't around. I know I'm old. I'm not that old. But Johnny Briggs.
I didn't think you were that
Johnny
old.
Briggs, who later went on to star as Mike Baldwin in Coronation Street. He took 7 for 17. But would you believe it? That wasn't his best ever Test figures. No. Because he saved those for the second innings when he took 8 for 11. And South Africa were out for 43.
15 for 28 in the
so
match.
he took 15 for 28 in a match.
That's pretty impressive.
And England won by an innings and 202. And would you believe that's also not the lowest South African total at the ground? Because the year later they went on to be out for 35.
Ooh.
So it was a tough old time for in the early years of South African cricket.
Well, even when they got to about 1912 and they had the triangular series with England and Australia in England.
Maharaj is
Off his
skipping in. That was short and pulled, and you'd hope that has that gone all the way. I think he has hit it all the way there, hasn't he? Or was it on the bounce? He had time just to rock back. Yeah, it was for 4, and pulled it over square leg. Yeah,
straight
that
towards
was,
the
one bounce. It was a 1 bounce 4. It was short, dragged down a bit by Maharaj, and really Ben Stokes will really need twice asking to dispatch one of those. In comes Maharaj again. Fuller moves in.
That was a buffet ball, wasn't it? That one?
That was a buffet ball, but the second one, his recovery ball, was not bad at all.
Well, he hasn't
Maharaj.
bowled many loose ones, to be fair to him today.
No, he's conceded 50 runs, but he has that wicket to his name. He's in again. Stokes on the back foot just to work this away through mid-wicket. They've taken 1. They elect not to come back for 2.
Getting back to that thing very quickly, that's the only instance I can recall, and it was a South African bowler that did it, of a bowler taking a hat-trick in each innings of a Test match.
Was this the Johnny Briggs incident? Was it? No.
It was a guy in 1912.
Oh, right.
was a
Maharaj.
huge
Oh, that's a big shout. Big shout. Big shout.
Not enough.
Umpire
No, I
Damascena.
think that's missing.
Well, he was a long way forward.
I think that's missing.
And they have
have-
reviewed. Well, this will be interesting.
I
He seemed
think
to
that's
toss
a
it.
bit of a gamble.
Well,
I
yeah.
can understand from a match point of view why they would do it.
I
If
think so.
that's out.
Yeah, I would agree. 183 for 4. Let's have a look. It's not a no ball. You wouldn't normally expect that of a slow left arm orthodox bowler.
Mind you, he does have a very strange delivery show, which
He's
he
forward.
plants it forward of the.
It pitched. The question is, I think, did it pitch just outside leg?
It may well have done.
Looking at that angle, probably not. There's definitely no inside edge involved. The ball does thud.
Well, it's
possibly
got to be hitting properly, isn't it? Because he's given it not out, isn't it? So
So we're going to have a look at where it pitched for you.
might be
Just
alright.
about in line with leg. It was coming back in. It was moving back in to Ollie Pope.
Oh, here we go.
I think he might be. I think we're looking at umpire's call. Yes, we are.
Yeah. So
Would
it,
have
ha- it had to be hitting properly, and it's actually barely touching.
No,
I
it
think
would
that's a
have,
poor review from South Africa.
well, it would have just kissed the outside.
But I
of
guess they're thinking if they get through this pair,
the leg stump.
then you know.
Well, no, you're quite right. As you read it, it was a gamble call, and to me, umpire's call, it always looked likely. 183 for 4. Maharaj is in, but they don't lose it as this is pushed to
No, because it's umpire's call, so they won't lose the review.
short mid-off by Pope, but they don't lose the review, quite importantly. We have one ball left in this over. Maharaj is in past umpire Damascena. Pope guides this to mid-on. England move on to 184 for 4. And Stokes on to 47.
I suppose
Pope's produced 2 or 3 instances now of situations that Hendo was picking up before tea and saying that Stokes was hitting the ball too hard and therefore you couldn't run one. And I think he's now hit 3 balls to mid-on and run with the shot in a way that you can comfortably make the single and keep the scoreboard.
and he
over.
is quick between the wickets.
It's
as
very
well.
clever.
Well, he is. And Pope, you watch a lot of Ollie Pope. Is he whippet-like between the stumps?
He's quick. He's not express.
But he's not
very
quite
good at controlling the pace of the shot off his bat,
Okay.
which is what I think John is alluding
Yeah,
to.
absolutely.
Yeah, I know what you mean. If you overhit it, it goes straight to the fielder, then you've lost your chance to run. As Nortje comes right arm over, thundering in. And again, there's a perfect example of what we've been talking about. Pope dropped the bat on it, let the ball do the work. It just made its way to mid-on, and they were already off for a very smart single.
Well, in that case, I think he's picked the right fielder as well, because that is Philander.
He's
Which he was looking quite sprightly today, but I think I would have dropped it and run in that situation as well.
He's got a fairly hefty-ish workload as a bowler. B, we think he's carrying a tad little bit of extra timber, and C, years are not on his side. So there's a combination of factors. Saying perhaps of all the South African fielders, he might be one you could risk the quick single to. 185 for 4. Kisha Maharaj stands ready at that Weinberg end. Now he's in. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. It's Nortje. What am I saying? And forward comes Ben Stokes. There is no run. 185 for 4. Continuing to rebuild and repair these two. We would have
Well,
Sam
that's the
Curran
first use
next,
of
I assume.
R&R that I've heard before.
What, rebuild and repair?
Yes.
Is that an oft spoken?
No, it has a completely different connotation.
Oh, does it? Oh, okay.
Rest and recuperation.
Oh, rest and recuperation, definitely. That one's
Oh,
up. It's
Oh,
taken.
what are you
dear.
doing?
Oh,
Ben Stokes
dreadful.
has his head in his hands, and well he
Dreadful.
might. He took one hand off the bat and he has just lofted it straight into the grateful hands of mid-off. And on 47, England have lost their 5th wicket, and Nortje is the man to do the damage, but I've got to say he seemed to have a fair bit of help from Ben Stokes in his own demise there.
Well, that's another self-destruct, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. Dean Elgar, who was the grateful recipient of that, and he rolled over like a goalkeeper who's trying to save time at the end of the last few minutes of a match, just to make absolutely sure. But Ben Stokes has gone, caught Elgar, bowled Nortje, and England have lost their 5th wicket. And I would mind betting that a few tweets of the doomed nature may be coming our way shortly.
Possibly, but I was just going to say before we get to that, Nortje, actually, I thought bowled something that was slightly slower there, and he might have caught him with a slow ball he didn't pick up in time.
Hendo is limbering up for a rant, I suspect.
But
He's just looking in despair, actually.
That's five wickets lost, 4 completely self-destruct buttons. I mean, you know, the problem is South Africa haven't had to do anything out of the ordinary to get England 5 down.
The Bear stands ready, having obviously started his post-Christmas fitness diet. He's a beer in one hand and his vape in the other. I won't broadcast the last bit, Bear, but you're clearly looking mellow. Let's just leave it at that. And Joss Buttler is the man at the crease. Am I doing one more over then? Oh, of course, there was a wicket. I need some of whatever you've been smoking, because I'm obviously not concentrating. 29-year-old Joss Buttler playing his 40th Test match, averages 33, and by his own admission recently, feels he's not been cutting it. So, I mean, not been cutting it in the sense of overall performance, not put away the cut shot. 185 for 5. Ben Stokes, who there's going to be no repeat of the heroics of 2016, I'm afraid. And Nortje, who must feel to a certain extent he's got himself a bonus over, is into the new batsman. Slightly squares up Joss Buttler. It squirts away down to backward point. So Buttler will get off the mark straight away. I'd actually forgotten Buttler. In my head I was seeing Curran coming in, and I'd completely forgotten poor old Joss. So maybe, just maybe,
Awful shot.
is the day. It was a terrible shot. But you know, these things happen. He'll go back. He won't know in his head. He probably will not know quite what combination of synapses snapped in his brain there to make that happen. As this one's dropped short and Ollie Pope ducks underneath it.
But the trouble is that's been the defining picture of this series so far. An English batsman playing a stupid shot
and then regretting,
and then going, why have I played that bloody shot? Well, it's too bloody late then.
Well, that is true. Elgar took it well, but it was straight to him.
There's no point in all this sort of, you know, self-flagellation once you completely bin your own wicket. I mean, what's the point of that? You've binned it now.
There's no point in self-flagellation, I shall
absolutely
remember
not.
That. As forward comes Ollie Pope back to Nortje. That is the end of the over. 186 for 5. It is the senior management leadership team who are going to confuse you through the next half hour.
Indeed. Moving around, I shall do some tweets. Our very own Nestle Boy says, Hendo would love Granada, talking about his short sojourn there. Coffee and a donut, only €2, €2.
€2?
To which Message Jess replied, can you swap the coffee for another donut?
No, I do like my coffee, has to be said. Granada is a place that I've always wanted to go to, I have to say.
It's like the dogs were hounding him.
Boom!
Yay. Well, I'm not going to be so harsh on Ben Stokes. I think he was a little unlucky there.
I think he was done by a ball that it was just a little bit slower than he thought it was.
I think that in the effort to dig it out, it was very full. In the effort to dig it out, he's trying to dig it out and also slightly clip it to the leg side, and batter's turned in the hand and offered up something of a leading edge to extra cover, I think. So I think he was fair enough to look down and wonder how on earth that happened. It sometimes happens as a batsman. You don't quite understand what you've done. Clipped slightly aerially by Josh Buttler just for a moment as Maharaj moves into his 21st over. They'll take a single to the right of mid-on.
Now,
Pope 22, Buttler 2.
Am I right in thinking Pope got a ton in the first warm-up game or the second warm-up game?
He did. He got 132 against South Africa A. Maharaj in again. And the props forward defends.
That was in the 3-day run, the 2-day,
Yes,
wasn't
that's right, the second of the two games against the stronger of the two sides, from what we understood from Mbu. It's 187 for 5. England should probably be about 200 for 3, maybe, at the moment. Back goes Pope. There's a bit of excitement from behind the stumps because he was squared up a little bit and was right in front of the pegs there.
it? They talk about playing it underneath your eyes, but I'm not that close to your eyes.
Well, the trouble with that is that if it does just slip through a little bit lower, you're completely done, aren't you? Because you're so far back on your stumps. He drives to extra cover. And really, you have to say that these two, we keep saying it now, these two can put on. They're probably the last pair that can do. Pope waits. He comes down the wicket and then just drops his bat on it, tickling it into the onside.
Yeah, I mean, Curran can get some runs.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the worry about...
Best bat's better than Archer, I would
They
imagine.
could, but yeah, but I mean...
you don't want to be going down that far, do you? Well, you're going to have to, but you don't really want those guys to have to make runs.
Well, no, not really. Forward comes Pope, who now knows that there's a little, even more responsibility on his shoulders, but he's shown in his career so far that he doesn't mind a bit of pressure. That's the end of Maharaj's 21st over. He has figures of 153. England 187 for 5.
Nestle Boy responds to us saying, no, but you can get another donut for €1, which is
So that's €3.
at least £1. And this-
€2.
in today's money.
So two donuts and a coffee for €3 is what you're saying.
And Paul Howarth talking to Foldsley147. It's time to return to guerrilla cricket, Neil Folds.
Yes, indeed,
Yes.
Neil, come and join us. You're probably not listening. He's just telling you that. Philander 1 for 34, Rabada 1 for 47, Nortje 2 for 42, and Maharaj 1 for 53. The only man to go wicketless so far is Pretorius, but he's bowled very economically. 5 maidens in his 7 overs.
And Ling Mao has come through with a prediction, which I'll say after this ball.
Nortje in again. That's beautifully played, gloriously so by Buttler. Onto the front foot to a ball that was nothing like a half volley, and he's just steered that through the covers and away for 4.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Lovely stroke that was. The back foot really. Just
But
let it come on and played it exceptionally well.
I mean, that thing that John was saying, I think that's not just the problem with this series, it's the problem in New Zealand. And that innings where we got overnight and we were in a comfortable position, everyone else got themselves out the next day. It's too often a case for England that the batsmen get themselves out, don't get got out, you know.
Yeah, no, one of these two guys, someone is chasing the Ibis. In fact, 2 players, Rabada and the one other. But he's not going very far. He's just moving out of
he's
their
been
reach.
there all day, that thing, man.
Well, he's a...
He likes company.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He likes the worms that have come to the surface.
Nortje wide on the crease, defended by Buttler. Back to the bowler, 145 Ks that from Nortje. That's exactly 90 miles an hour.
Maybe that Ibis has a complete understanding of Test cricket and actually
May well
thinks
be.
I get a free view if I own an outfield.
He said, actually, to be honest, I'd be a better captain than Joe Root.
Yes. Joe, you should be doing this.
Joe, now listen.
Pointing with his beak, that's what people aren't realising.
He's clever. He's clever. Very, very clever. Buttler has 6. Pope has 22. And England are 191 for 5 after winning the toss and choosing to bat. It's been harder going than you think it should have been. Anyway, 2 slips in the gully. In comes Nortje. He goes right across his crease. He exposed his leg and almost middle stump there, but kept the ball going on its way, flicked it, and it's gone very fine for 4 runs. I do have to do a bit of a double take when I look at Nortje facially. He's a bit facially very similar to Morney Morkel. Look at that. He's exposed his middle and leg stump.
That's premeditated.
Exactly,
And he's got
but
away with that.
If we're
That's
talking,
a real one-day shot.
if we are talking about giving wickets away, if he gets out to that shot, then that's criminal, isn't it? Really, he's gone right across, Trying to use that angle, but very risky. It's short ball. Oh no, what on earth happened there?
Slow ball?
Don't think so.
No.
It just died
Just didn't come off the pitch.
as he tried to. Well, he got into position to pull it and then decided not to do anything.
Well, maybe this pitch isn't as good as the one 3 years ago, whatever it was.
I don't think it is.
No, I don't think it is. It's certainly been some variable bounce, and it is day one.
Yep, there has been.
So maybe, it may. I mean, the thing is, we're all thinking, oh Christ, we've got to get 600 because that's what happened before. But there were some exceptional innings in that game, and
Yes.
Ling Mao thinks we're going to get to scrape to 350 with Pope getting 15 more, Butler 30, Curran and Best both get 50.
well, that'd
And
be
the
nice.
rest don't score, I think. presumably.
Dream on. Nortje in, bowls to Buttler, defends up to mid-off where Rabada feels. Now, you know, I don't want to get too excited about Bess because he has got a 50 in Test cricket. But I don't think that,
Well, it doesn't mean he's going to get any runs here.
Well, the thing is, he's coming back into Test cricket after a weird summer in which he's been loaned out to Yorkshire.
Well, he's been dropped by Somerset and then loaned out to
Well, kind of dropped by them because they presumably weren't playing two spinners. And they favoured Leach as Nortje comes in to complete the over. Again, very wide on the crease. Butler's in behind that. They are going to take a single to gully, effectively, although he had to move a little bit round to his right. Very cleverly spotted and well backed up by Pope to get there at the end of the over, which means that Buttler will keep the strike. But, I've lost count of the times we talked about batsmen going into games, and then they come up against bowlers who can, maybe they haven't faced bowlers who bowl short and bowl short well and bowl short consistently and target them. And so they suddenly, you think they're a decent player, and then suddenly they haven't actually played much of the short ball, and then everyone says, "Oh, he can't play the short ball." Well, it's because they don't face that very much of it, and then suddenly they're exposed to good exponents of it in Test cricket.
Yeah.
So I don't think we
friendly
should.
pitches.
And if Bess or the likes of him get off to a good start, then they will. They will turn to other tactics,
Yeah,
and that is possible. 196 for 5, 69 overs bowled, 11 overs from now, and the new ball will also become available. So another thing to fear for England as Maharaj continues. Well, Buttler plays a paddle sweep. I thought he was going to play a reverse then. I think he did change his mind when he realised where the ball was. It's that Philander has somehow chased that down and got it back to Faf du Plessis, but I've got a feeling he was in contact with the
I think he just about managed it.
fence. Do you think? I want to see it
so.
again. I really want to see that again.
Well, do you not think that's why England have put the foot down a bit here because they realise that
The new ball's coming.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Is he in? I think
he is. I think he hasn't got rid of it there, and he's in
still
touch.
slightly in contact with the finger, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's 4 runs,
I
isn't
think
it?
that's 4 runs as well.
So very close, a bit unlucky, but Philander, if that is given as a boundary, but letter of the law, VAR, and all that nonsense.
Yeah. 4
That
runs.
is indeed 4 runs, signalled by Kumar
pledging.
Darmasina.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, also the talk about Joss Buttler, and that he feels like he's not,
So England 200. Way!
been up to scratch.
It's only 2 tons in however many innings he's had, 40 odd tests.
1 ton. He's only got 1 ton,
1 ton.
in Test cricket. This
Lot
is
of 50s.
flicked back in the air slightly, just short of Maharaj. I was a little bit worried then that was going to be a return catch.
11 50s.
We constantly pick Joss Buttler on the basis that he's going to play the crazy, brilliant, inspired, genius-type innings, and he rarely does. He goes back to this one, defends it into the offside. So
well,
is now the time? Is now the time?
The problem with the crazy, inspirational get you loads of runs innings is it requires you to be in a strong position, and we're very often not in that strong position where he can just really play freely.
Well, no, I disagree with that to a certain extent. This is forced into the offside. Because if you're talking about a crazy genius innings, it comes from a difficult position, does it not?
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I always think of that the more we're going to kick on quickly and give up himself in the game, which I think that comes from being. Oh, I think that went through him, didn't it?
Well, it's gone through the man at short mid-off. Was that a catch? Peter Malan is sitting on the floor, and he's pursing his lips as if to say, "Ooh, I think that was a chance." Certainly, the bowler looks a little bit disappointed. Let's have a look at this again. Has he nearly thrown it away here? It's very low. If he'd kept his hands down, he would have.
Yeah, it would have been a catch.
Probably would have been. It would have been a very tight one.
Yeah.
But that's what he's there for, I
Should have
guess.
stayed down.
He did start to come up, didn't he, as he played the shot?
Mind you, back down again.
See
Mind you, yeah.
You see the fast-moving bat of Joss Buttler coming towards you from about 6 yards away, you probably do come up a little bit. They run through for a single as Buttler turns into the onside.
But again, do you think that they're trying to scoot along here because they've gone pretty slowly and the new ball's coming and they fear that?
I don't think it's that. It could be. My gut feeling is that Buttler feels he's got to play his natural game. And also Pope. I mean, Pope is not. He's an attacking batsman, isn't he? When he can be.
If Pope stays there, he will score runs.
Yes, exactly. So, he's not going to play probably not going to play an innings like Joe Denley played today.
But then he is a number 6, and he's natural number 6, and that's kind of what you want from your number 6.
You want a bit of a stroke player, don't you?
Yeah.
202 for 5, 70 overs bowled.
When you're assuming by number 6, either the ball is old or you've got a lot of runs on the board,
Yeah. And we've got neither. Well, the ball is old, but we haven't got a lot of runners on the board.
We're over 200 now.
How low have your expectations got? Oh, we're over 200 now. As if that's.
Well, I think 300 is.
I think 350 is.
350 is what you want.
Short into the ribs of Pope. Actually, it was. He took the single off the final ball, so he jabs that down into the ground and then up towards mid-on.
Jeff Perkins asked the question: is chasing the ibis some kind of jug reference?
No, but it should be.
There's a picture from Grits and Grats of cracking sound temporarily replaced by crack on live screen action with a picture of the crack to bear.
Oh no, please no. No one needs to be shown that.
And after we've had another ball, I'll give you some shout outs from Quick Tracker.
Driven by Pope, half stopped I think by Dean Elgar diving across at extra cover. Parried it to mid-off where Rabada completes the fielding.
KR Vain Singh Sonigara says Denley is not a good player. Senzo Massine says hello from South Africa. Mohammed Kazi says hello from Mozambique.
Mozambique,
no. Diraj Sharma says the England batsmen seem uncomfortable.
Yeah, a little bit. Although I think Pope was batting. Actually, some of them have batted quite well and they got themselves out.
And Hattie Atkinson says, yay, more delightful blithering.
You're looking at a video that's
ages old.
Ages old. That's this morning's one.
That's a bouncer bowled to Pope, who ducks underneath it. You are looking as the bear is doing commentary on that particular video.
I'm in a tweet chair.
And,
John Batham is commentating.
Oh, it's John in the middle.
Yeah.
From this distance, it looks like you. 202 for 5. South Africa's Faf du Plessis, on whom the camera is focusing at the moment. We're very happy with the day's play so far, I would suggest. Having lost the toss, saying he would have batted had he won it. Anyway, here's Nortje again into Pope, bowls him a bouncer, he ducks underneath it. And that goes through harmlessly to De Kock.
So I have the first innings average test innings score across history. All tests.
Ever?
Average.
Average first innings score?
Yeah.
269.
No, low.
Lower than that?
No, you're low.
Oh, I'm low. Really?
300.
Higher. 324.
Really? Over all test matches ever?
Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. Who says this?
ESPN Cricket Info.
Okay. They couldn't possibly be wrong. Full ball, he's edged it! And what's happened there? It's dropped short of the second slip. And then it seems to have sprung from Faf du Plessis towards Van der Dusen at first slip. But the camera work was so poor, it was almost impossible to tell whether a wicket had gone down there. And it was purely by the reactions of the players that I have worked out what happened. It's short by about 3 feet, and then it is indeed sort of offloaded by Faf to Van der Dusen. But encouragement there for Nortje to get Pope to edge when he's been in for 65 balls. And he's in again, he bowls. And this time, he just thought he was going to play defensively and then decided, well, it's bouncing enough and it's wide enough that why don't I get my bat well out of the way of that? And he does. And he survives. 202 for 5. End of the over. Pope 23, Buttler 16.
Right, some proper names.
Some up-to-date
Quick Tracker
tweets.
Nidasha Lara says nice. Mukesh Kumar says hi.
Hi.
Gulshan says hi.
Hi.
Sandeep Wakshuri says I am here.
You are there. Where?
We now know you're there.
We know you're there.
Syed Mohammed says hi, sir.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, sir.
And he also says I love you, Kevin Peterson.
Oh, I thought he meant us. I love you, Kevin. Well, he's not here.
No.
But anyway,
Or
never
even
mind.
Peter Kevinson.
Peter Kevinson, or even Keegan Peterson. Who knows?
He's in the squad, isn't he, Keegan?
Yeah, he's been drafted in there.
I was quite excited when we had that tweet that you read from about 6 hours ago. Down the wicket comes Buttler, and he lifts this up and over, long on, all the way. That's cleared the ropes by some distance and picks him up a 6.
That was just effortless. It's just a flick off his hip. No real sort of expended effort.
Well, he comes down the wicket, yeah, and the flow of the bat is gorgeous, isn't it? Really is. And that's Buttler at his best. And that's Buttler in white ball cricket, really.
Yeah.
And that's into the building park.
Gone a long fucking way, that one.
Miles, isn't it? It's a long way over.
That's at the back of the
That's
building
lost
park.
ball.
He's got a big margin for error there, I have to say. And he's lost the ball, so we're going to have a new ball.
Yeah, well, at the back of that is the railway line, so I don't think you'll be getting that one back in a hurry.
Who are we going to send out there to get it? Who don't we like? Anyway, the second 6 of the innings. Ben Stokes hit one earlier, and Buttler moves to 22. He's almost level with Pope, having faced just 14 balls. Well, if he hasn't been played hasn't been told to play his natural game, then he's doing it off his own back.
What are they building back there?
I think that's going to be another stand, and that's the bottom sort of part of it.
Yeah, it means apparently
the outlets and the
he goes back to the next one and cuts.
Business units, etc.
Straight to backward point, Milan Fields. I think they said the capacity is down from 18 to 16,000 because of the lack of that stand.
A nice looking ground, isn't it?
Oh,
it's a beautiful ground.
Apart from the brewery, apparently. Onto the back foot goes Buttler. Forces with some power, but straight to extra cover.
Does it smell? Is that smell?
Nothing wrong with the brewery, it's just not particularly attractive building.
It's functional, I think.
Well, exactly.
Well, breweries are. But when we were in Southwold.
Southwold, yeah.
Yeah,
the Adnams, yeah. This time Buttler waits and then just steers the ball with an open face towards the slightly deep set cover point.
Because they're just basically boiling chambers for booze, aren't they? You know?
Yeah, I know, but when you've got such a glorious cricket ground and such a glorious outlook to, it does rather become a bit of a blot on the landscape, doesn't it? Cut again by Buttler, straight to Milan once more.
Muttley joins us. He says, "Woof! Afternoon, folks."
I never thought he would say a thing like that. Maharaj in, Buttler defends. Straight back to the bowler, end of the over. Buttler 22, Pope 23, England 208 for 5. Was that it?
They're up to date.
Up to date, oh right.
Come on.
Isn't that amazing? You know how when you sort of really stop your commentary because you think, oh, there must be loads more tweets. Suddenly, oh no, nothing left. And it's a wonderful vista, isn't it? When you look at the panorama of it.
Mm-hmm.
A bit like Mount Manganui, wasn't it? There was a rather unattractive building right next to that.
Yes, there was.
Ground in New Zealand.
It was basically an industrial park.
Yeah, but the rest of it was glorious, right by the sea. Or
get the right camera angle, it was amazing. Wrong one. Yeah.
Crawley made 4, Sibley 34, Denley 38, Root 35, Stokes 47. Getting a theme. Pope not out 23, Buttler not out 22. Everyone's
so
got
we're not in danger
Everyone's
yet
got
until another 15-20 runs.
Yeah, a piece. Change of bowling. Out of the attack comes Nortje, and back into the attack the incredibly economical Dwayne Pretorius. Pretorius. 7 overs for 6 runs, 5 of them maidens. Very accurate, if not of great pace, and that was a little off-cutter that he bowled there, beautifully driven through extra by Pope. But Milan is out on the boundary and he's sped around the periphery of the ground and done really well.
Nice cover drive.
He does have a nice cover drive, yes. He really plays well there and his placement is good. So he moves on to 25.
Well, he does lean into the shot.
Yeah, he gets right out there, doesn't he? Bit like Ian Bell now, so.
There is an element of Bell there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yes, I think you're right.
It's the ginger gene.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, it's just something about the the way he plays that drive, isn't it?
He gets right out there, keeps the face
and gets quite
straight,
low,
high
isn't it?
elbow, doesn't he?
Yeah, he gets a low back knee.
It's
And
not quite
the transfer of weight as well.
Yeah, it's not quite as sumptuous as Ian Bell's, but it's pretty good. Faf is just making a couple of changes to his field. He now has 2 mid wickets.
He's just wasting time and trying to put him off, I think.
Mid on a little bit deeper, a slip and a gully, extra cover, man out on the fence, sweeping, and a mid off. Another little off cutter. A quick off break, really, isn't it? That's all that Dwayne Pretorius seems to be bowling at the moment, and fairly accurate, good length. And this time Pope leaves it alone. And that is aimed, isn't it? That's aimed at getting you to miss time a little bit, that little off cut that he puts into the ball. Just makes it hold up a little bit.
I think he's only got one plan, is to bowl as economically as possible until the new ball.
Probably right. In he comes again. And once more, Pope drives, half stopped by Elgar. The ball then runs away from him. Well, they've got through for a single there? I don't think they did.
Probably should have done.
No, I think Rabada's too close for them to risk it.
Pope remains on 25 from 69. England have moved to 210 for 5. I suppose we'll start to look at the GPL in the not too distant future.
Got 1 in 3 chance.
Pretorius is in again, bowls this one, he brings it back into Pope, but he's onto the back foot initially and then forces to one of the mid wickets.
What was the lowest GPL entry we
Well,
had?
exactly. There's a 1 in 3 chance between 200 and 300. All entries are between 300. 225 was the lowest entry, and 293 was the highest. So there's a good chance it'll be 1.
Yep. And what is it?
It's really annoying.
£103, did we say?
It will be £102, £103, yeah.
Pretorius again always found the edge there.
Beautiful shot.
It's a strange one because again it was that off cutter and it's gone away off the outside edge. It's probably he was trying to work it into the onside. It's split, slip and gully, and it's brought in a rather fortuitous 4.
And if you kids can't listen, then you bound to see the way you get shot for crossing a boundary, crossing a boundary.
He's a little bit on the walk as he plays that shot. He was thinking that it's if there's any movement, it's coming into his legs, and he was trying to play the ball towards mid wicket, and he got out in front a little bit too early, perhaps. He got the outside edge safely enough, though. Pretorius continues. Slip goes wider. A little bit of a way swing that time. And Pope is forward in defence. Straight to extra cover. I think it was a no ball, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
No?
It looked like he was off.
It looked like he was awful close to the ball that went for 4.
He was signalling for drinks, I think is what we were picking up on.
Right, I shall get through some tweets. Dave Wood asked the question, any idea what score we were on after 100 balls? Asking for a non-cricket interested friend. I think your answer to that is Crick Info.
Yeah.
Indeed so.
Adelaide Barbies joins us and says, morning chaps from not so sunny New York.
New York now.
The media hub is on vacation. How was everybody out? Shockers?
Not so much shockers,
Not
but
much shot, just poor shots. Really.
it's not great shots, are they? I mean,
profligate, slightly.
I don't.
In that they'd done some hard work and then they managed to get themselves out when they looked fairly well set.
So Root ducked into a bouncer but kept his hands high and got gloved down the leg side. You know, Denley was playing a forward defensive.
Missed a straight one.
Missed a straight one.
Yeah, but I think you've got to place these in context. Now, I still think that while Denley does have an issue with the space he sometimes leaves between bat and pad, he was trying to cover all angles there. He thought there might be a little bit of a spin away from the bat. Not that many balls had done anything. And so he plays a little bit outside to allow for that spin, and that just makes that gap even bigger, and he just bowls a straight ball and it goes perfectly between the gap.
Yeah.
Into the gap, as it were. So he shouldn't get out like that.
Test match player shouldn't be getting out like that.
No, he shouldn't.
And the less we say about Stokes, the less swearing you hear.
Again, I think he was a little bit unlucky. He was batting well. I think he was trying to squeeze a very full-length ball out into the onside, and
got a bit of a leading edge.
Just got a bit of a leading edge.
Which
Bat turned in his hand
perfectly,
and it's caught at extra cover. So I'm you know me, that if I felt there'd been really bad shots, I would be screaming about it.
Yeah.
And I think it's been somewhere between the two. There's been a bit of
exactly.
good bowling.
I mean, look, for example, I mean, like Sibley shouldn't have been there was no need for him to be defending that ball.
No.
It was short, it was wide. He takes a big stride across anyway. He should know where his off stump is, and if he knows that's outside the line, I don't know why he's following that with his bat. It's not a poor shot, but it's just the poor thinking. He should be leaving that ball.
Yeah, and we felt he was sort of disturbed by a very good ball just before that.
Yeah, well, exactly that. I think that's the excuse for that. But again, you shouldn't really be playing on that. And the only one who's really got out was Zach Crawley. New ball,
good ball,
really good ball. Kind of in that channel of uncertainty, looked like it was coming in towards off stump, and then just went away a little bit. And he was committed to the shot, and it clipped the edge and was well taken by the keeper.
Well, one thing that Ben Stokes and Josh Buttler being out there in this third session is that the England run rate has lifted to over 4 and over in this particular period, when it's been just a little bit over 2 for most of the day. But what England need more than anything is, well, either Buttler to score 100 very quickly or stay there for a decent amount of time.
Whilst you're thinking about that, our own Nestle boy says, time for a Spanish Jaffa cake. So there's a picture of Spanish Jaffa cakes.
Spanish Jaffa cakes. Oh, I went into Marks and Spencer's before Christmas, and I couldn't believe how many different varieties of Jaffa cake you can now get.
Oh, it doesn't.
Raspberry Jaffa cakes.
Oh, no, you can get everything.
Lemon and mango fruit Jaffa cakes.
The thing is, if you go in now, it'll all be on sale.
Oh, I might just do that.
It'll all be reduced, yes.
Yeah, it'll all be reduced. There'll be loads of...
Do you mean they don't normally have that many different types of Jaffa cake?
They'd have overstocked for Christmas, and if they didn't get rid of it, it'll all be on sale.
I'm not sure Jaffa cakes last that long. Anyway.
Exactly, well, that's why they'll be dirt cheap.
Yeah, true. I might have to nip in on the way back. 214 for 5. Second new ball available in 7 overs. And the nearer that gets, the more I do think of maybe you're right about Josh Buttler playing this way, because he doesn't want to face the new ball, does he?
Well, he wants to have pressure on when a new ball comes. If they can get another 30, 40 runs in the next 7 overs.
Well, you did see how quickly England collapsed to the second new ball in the second innings at Victoria. This is
you weren't on air
cover.
early, but I fucking blame Bairstow for that. It was a fucking poor shot.
That was awful. He's down the wicket, doesn't quite get there, so decides to just steer it up through mid-on rather than go for the big heave. And he'll pick up a single to Rabada, who's coming in, easing in off the boundary, and then staying up.
If he's a man who wants to carry on playing Test cricket, second new ball comes along, you're not in a particularly bad position, you're not in a great position, you're chasing a game, got to win on the last day.
When he got excited, he thought he was playing white ball cricket. I think what happened was the first ball he got was on leg stump. It was a nice half volley, and he clipped it beautifully for 4. And he thought, oh, hang on, this reminds me of something.
Exactly. And then he chased a wide one that was going away from him, and he hit it sweetly, but straight to the fucking man,
Down the wicket comes Pope. Again, he finds himself not quite at the pitch, so defends to the man at short mid-off. And there is no run. Pope eager to get on with this, but Maharaj is bowling cannily. He's in again. This is flat and horrible, and he cuts, but really doesn't get hold of it. Fortunately, I was going to say fortunately, there's a terrible piece of fielding at extra cover, but then, unfortunately for Pope, there was a man backing it up, so they didn't get a run. It was pretty much bad cricket all round. That 215 for 5. Maharaj in again. Pope forward to a straight one, a full one. Just knocks it back to the bowler, and that is the end of the over.
Some tweets. I Am Sanko says, as for picturesque grounds besides Newlands, he gives us some examples. He calls out the HPCA ground in Dharamsala, which is beautiful, in the Himalayas.
It seems to be
the Bell Reeve Oval in Hobart.
Oh, the Bell Reeve Oval's lovely as well, because it's right
Queenstown Event
lake.
Centre in New Zealand, which is also beautiful, with the remarkables behind it. And I would add to that Gaul.
You've been to Gaul?
I haven't been to Gaul.
I haven't been to Gaul. It sounds like it should be good. It looks good, the fort and everything. One I'd add to that.
And also Hagley Oval, actually.
Okay, that's Christchurch, yeah?
Yeah, in fact, any number of New Zealand grounds.
I think also you can add to that.
They're all very picturesque.
I mean, there is another ground down in the Cape, which is Paarl, where I saw a 3-day game played there in 1995, and that's beautiful. I mean, it doesn't even have a brewery. What on earth Buttler comes wandering down the pitch and
The
plays a
one-day
shot very reminiscent of the one that Root got out to in the first innings in Pretoria, and plays a horrible little dab. Pretoria saw him coming, dropped it a little bit shorter. Yeah, go to Pal. If you get a chance to see a cricket match at Pal, that is worth going to. Although they may not let you go into the
Kind of gone out
shade.
of favour a little bit now.
Yeah, well, they have these games in between tests, yeah.
When they have sort of warm-up games, you'll go to somewhere quite close to Johannesburg, like Benoni.
Yep. Onto the front foot comes Buttler, defends that into the covers. Yeah, no, that's a good point actually, because when we went to Pal, I think they didn't then play the Test match at Cape Town. They went off to Durban. So it was a bit of an odd thing. They went to the
Go
Cape.
to Durban, they'll play at Pietermaritzburg as well.
Yeah, well, exactly. I'm not sure whether they did play a game up in Durban apart from the Test, which then got rained off after about a day and a half. Apparently that's what it does in Durban before Christmas. Pretorius loses his run-up as he's just past the umpire. 215 for 5 is the score. If you're just joining us here on Guerrilla Cricket. And remember, if you want to support Guerrilla Cricket, and we need support in a financial as well as emotional sense, please go to patreon.com/Guerrilla Cricket, and whatever you can spare, give us on a monthly basis. Lovely, pleasant drive from Buttler. That's him at his best. It doesn't matter that there's a man out there square on the boundary. That has gone to extra cover for one of these. Beautiful flowing bat from Jos Buttler. And he does put that away very nicely. Not a huge amount of foot movement, but it's all about the hands, isn't it? All about the hands.
Yeah. That's why you get out to it as well.
Well, that's
doesn't
true.
Go across.
Because you're a
he
little
just
bit
moves away a
unbalanced,
little
yeah.
bit, and your eyes not underneath it.
It comes right across his stumps again, as he did once against Nortje. This time the ball is pitched outside the line of off stump, so he defends it straight back. But I do worry about him exposing that leg stump, and especially when he gets so far across that he shows the middle. And in fact, in that situation, he exposed all three.
Hey, look, Piggy Smith does it.
Yeah, but Piggy Smith's
Labuschagne does it.
Piggy Smith's a ridiculous, awful-looking genius. This one moves away ever so slightly, squeezes off an outside edge. They're going to try for 2, and they're going to get it. As Buttler ran that first one very
Excellent
quickly.
running.
And I think that the man at Gully might have gone after that and might have prevented the 2, but he didn't. I think he thought there was a man on the 1. There
Faf's
wasn't.
looking a bit stern. I don't think he's very pleased that they managed to get 2 there.
No, 221 for 5.
I don't think he's happy that they're actually scoring at quite a free rate at the moment, aren't
Yes,
they?
he's brought on to keep it quiet. And
Well, he's
Pretorius
gone
is not doing the business.
Well, he's gone for 6. Oh, and that's a beauty, and he's got the edge. And Buttler has gone. Would you believe it? Just as you think. He's found a way back into the match. And the other England batsman gets out between 20 and 30. It's unbelievable, really. He was outside off stump, had no business to be playing at that if he'd stayed inside the line. And England have lost a 6th wicket for 221.
Fuck off! Just fuck off!
It's just poor, man.
On your point, mate.
I mean, he's on a fucking wall.
Well, it shows the flaw in this way of playing, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Premeditated. He's moved across to a ball.
He wouldn't have played that if he'd stayed in the normal position.
No,
He wouldn't have had his hand get anywhere near
the
it.
keeper.
Exactly. And, well, I don't think Faf needs to look cross anymore, does he? It's just, I don't know.
Just keep getting to a point where
Muddled thinking from England all the time, isn't there? I mean, you can't just keep imposing your game on the opposition the whole time. I mean, what is the point of Buttler? He's been out there for 27 balls. He's got 29. What has he done apart from the 29 runs in terms of taking the game on? Sorry?
What has Jos Buttler ever done for us?
Well, indeed. And I actually think that Jos Buttler has got to be dropped. Not only for saying that there should be 4-day tests, but also for his batsmanship, which, quite frankly, if you're Ben Folkes and you're sitting at home, well, you're probably not sitting at home. You're off pretty much on the Lions tour now, aren't you? Soon in Australia. If you're looking at this, you're thinking, how on earth is this bloke getting a game?
Imagine Ben Folkes is looking at this and thinking, there's an opportunity once the season starts.
Yeah, but I mean, he shouldn't have to be waiting this long, should he? I mean, he's got 100 in his first Test match.
Well, he didn't have a great 2019, to be fair. He wasn't good for Surrey, and Surrey weren't good in total.
Well, Surrey, yeah. I mean, Surrey didn't have a great season, to be fair. But
So he's dropped back in the pecking order a little bit amongst the panoply of people who can keep. I mean,
Well, I don't
he's
know.
comfortably the best keeper. The question is whether he's the best fit for the team.
Well, I think on the basis of what Butler's producing at the moment, I think he is the best fit for the team, isn't he? I mean, at least he'll use up some time out there.
Yeah.
Sam Curran comes to the crease.
Let's give him a jingle. Give him a- You know.
Yeah, no. He comes forward to the first ball of a new over. Is Ollie Pope defends it back to the bowler, and Maharaj is in again. He goes back this time, tucks it into the onside towards square leg.
The Pope has to save us.
Yeah, but you know he's not really got a lot of support now, has he? He's got Sam Curran. Okay, we know he can be a good batsman, but I think also he's actually
fallen
shown
off
up. He's not been shown up, but he's
He's fallen off his high standards a little bit.
well, you know, it was because it was so spectacular in the first few innings. You can't expect him to be like that for, you know, for a long period of time, especially when you just come into Test cricket. You're always going to have a dip. This is defended back by Pope as he starts to come down the
Well,
wicket.
you'd hope that if two people know how to bat with each other, then it's these two who would have been batting with each other since they're about 9 years old.
Well, that's true. Reaches for that one and drives it, but there is a man set back at cover, so
Fucking Ibis still there, man.
Torres fields it. He's being accompanied by the Ibis.
Can we have a no ball for every ball that the Ibis has been on the pitch?
What happens if you hit the Ibis? 5 runs.
Dead ball.
One dead Ibis.
Dead ball, dead Ibis.
Throws this up outside the off stump. Again, he steers this to Pretorius, who comes in front of the Ibis to field that one. And there is no run. 221 for 6. Thoroughly disappointing, this, and underwhelming from England, having won the toss and decided to bat. Maharaj in, he's down the wicket, he reaches that, he drives, but there's Rabada coming across mid-on to field. And that is the end of a maiden over. We have only, 4 to go before the new ball. Not sure they'll need the new ball, to be honest.
Nessie Boy says, they have all these daft flavours here talking about the Jaffa cakes. There's only one type of Jaffa cake, the rest of the work of the devil.
No. I was very tempted
Strawberry
by
ones can be good.
Well, I was very tempted by the raspberry ones, I have to say.
PJ Mead is talking about financially supporting us next week when he starts a new contract.
Oh, that'd be
Thank you
very
very
nice.
much.
Thank you very much.
Messages talking about Ling Mao's prediction. He said, you got one correct, talking about Buttler getting 30.
Well, look at that. It tells a story, doesn't it? Sibley 34, Denley 38, Root 35, Stokes 47, Butler 29, Pope is on 29, isn't yet out, but who knows. The only man who hasn't got a decent start is Zach Crawley, who was out for 4, caught behind, but he got a very good ball. And that's what is likely to happen in the first 4 or 5 overs of a test match against world-class bowling.
And Arthur says, Butler and Bairstow get passes for a long time because England didn't have enough middle-order batsmen. With the emergence of Pope and Crawley, that's no longer true. I'm not sure Crawley's a middle-order batsman.
Well, I wouldn't say either of those has
Pick
emerged
folks
yet.
immediately.
Pretorius around the wickets to the left-handed Curran, who defends his first ball to extra cover. I still think that it's a bit of the same mentality as expecting Jason Roy to be brilliant at the top of the order in Test cricket. It's that you feel that there's one great innings there, and if he was just able to play that innings, that he would go on and be a great player. And you keep on waiting for this innings, and it just never comes. Buttler is averaging 32.9 in Test cricket.
Interesting from Matt Searle.
Oh, that's a good ball. That has come into Curran, just kept on going. Has gone too far, really. Wrapped him in
He's getting
the
the ball
thigh
to move
pad.
more than anybody else
Suddenly
has
he
for a
is
while.
getting a bit of movement, isn't he?
Matt Searle says, maybe the last dismissal explains why Butler wants 4-day tests.
Well,
maybe if limited to 2 innings of 25 overs each, played over 1 day, that would fit better. 100 overs.
Sure it would.
How would the ECB market such a thing? Thinking face.
It's a good one, isn't it? We should have a change, shouldn't we, shortly?
We should
Onto the back foot goes Curran, defends back to Pretorius. Pope 29, Curran yet to score. Pretorius now 1 for 18. He's into his 10th over.
And there's generally large support from our Twitterati for folks
Well, I think it's the only answer
being
now, isn't it?
installed.
Has to be. You can't go on with. I mean, however however promising and however much potential you think Buttler has at this level, he's not producing. Pretorius in, bowls, he drives horribly there, too early, gets a real thick inside edge, the ball runs wideish towards mid-on, but dummy run from mid-wicket prevents them thinking of a single.
If nothing else, it's pour encourager les autres.
Indeed so. Come on, French with me. Something about the others. It's unfair on the others?
To encourage the others.
Oh, to encourage the others,
To improve performance, to know that everybody is not guaranteed for
a place. Yeah, I think it is too easy. Pretorius in again, bowls, and he aims a rather fluid drive at this one without a great deal of foot movement, but again doesn't time it particularly well. Ball goes into the covers.
Warwick Holmes says, when you look at the test averages, which are just shown up on screen on Sky, you can see we're simply not good enough.
Yes. Well, we haven't got enough people averaging in the 40s. I think the only person averaging in the 40s is Root.
Well, if you look at the South African averages, I think they're worse than ours.
Well, yeah, but they have got a very new team. I suppose we have to a certain extent. Oh, my word.
Beautiful
Curran has
shot.
got very lucky there as he aimed a drive without really moving his foot. It was a bit loose. He got an inside edge. It's missed the stumps. It's gone down to fine leg. It's 4 runs. As we look at the shuffling Joss Buttler, which is not a new dance, but it might as well be for all the effect it's having on this cricket match. Yeah, I drop Buttler. It's as simple as that. Drop Buttler.
I mean, that's they're showing a hole over.
Yeah.
Now, I suppose he got in the same position every ball.
The thing is, though,
yeah, but they don't bowl it in the same place every ball.
No, they don't. But I mean, that's clearly his trigger then.
this
isn't
has
it?
to be a plan, but the plan is flawed, and they
Yeah.
can't see before they try and put
plan was
this plan
to-
into operation that it is a flawed plan.
It looks like the plan was to mimic Steve Smith by getting outside off stump, taking the LBW out of the equation, getting closer to the ball so he can play an aggressive shot.
Yeah, but this is the whole point. Why at 220 for 5 are you thinking I've got to play aggressive shots the whole time?
Yeah,
This is driven by Pope down to long off, and they take a single.
You know, Steve Smith, he leaves an awful lot of balls too.
Well, Steve Smith has developed this technique for himself, and it works for him. It does. It is so unorthodox that it's not likely to work for anyone else. You know, there's a reason why there's an orthodoxy to technique, because it enables those with less ability, if they play with technical correctness, to have some ability at that shot.
It's a force multiplier.
Yeah, whatever that is.
In military terms.
Military terms. Where are the silly military today? Haven't heard much from them. Not surprised, really. Maharaj over the wicket. Gets some turn there. Bowling into footmarks, no doubt. Oh, horrible piece of field. Who is that?
That's
Is that Nortje? Was it Pretorius? He was putting the big right boot down, and looks very unimpressed by that.
Not surprised.
They got
He's
through
looking
for
at
a
him saying,
single.
I know that this ball's only lasting another 2 overs, but can you put a bit more effort in, please?
Brings Pope back down to face. Maharaj switches back to round the wicket to the right-hander. He's got a slip, he's got a short mid-off, he's got an extra cover, a cover point in front of square, a backward point, backward square leg, mid-wicket, and he's into Pope, gets right forward and defends. Ball rolls slowly into the covers, and there is no run.
Pope looks pretty organised.
Yeah, he does, but he's
He
into
is.
the 30s
He
now.
always looks busy.
He's into the 30s now, that's what you've got to worry about. Maharajan again, presses forward. Hint of turn there as he played that one, square. And it's fielded a back point, there is no run.
Some more shout-outs from the Quick Tracker. Ragged Shur says hi, and Buttler is a one-day specialist. Muhammad Hassan says favourite player is Duplessis. C.H. Farah says very nice, and Dan Khan, Das Khan says W, whatever that is.
Cut by Pope, but doesn't get it beyond the man at backward point.
And on Twitter there's a lot of Jaffa Cake chatter.
It's amazing what gets them going.
Messages, Nestle Boy, and Kit Harris, who found Jaffa Cakes in Taunton in 1999, completely enrobed in chocolate.
Are you sure that's not Kit Kat Harris? It's defended into the covers by Pope, and there is no run. Should have a
That'd
change.
have a
One more over and then
crunchy
we'll have a
middle
change.
then, wouldn't it?
Indeed,
As a
indeed.
Kit Kat.
Well, that's what England need, a crunchy middle order. Yeah, we'll have a change at the end of the next over. We get Tony and John back in, and the Bear's going to do some ball by ball, which will be fun.
You reckon he's suitably enlivened by his...
He doesn't look enlivened. He doesn't look enlivened. He looks like he's going further back as we speak.
I like to recline.
You do like to recline. I like to recline. I'm not keen for that. 2:27 for 6. Just the bloody bird is still out there, pecking away. What have we got?
You
The
sounded like
ibis.
Michael Parkinson there.
The bloody
It's that
bird.
bloody bird.
Bloody bird. She's out there.
Don't point that bloody bird at me.
Oh yeah. What was his name?
Rod Halanimi.
Rod Halanimi, yeah. Pretorius round the wicket to Curran. Curran defends back to the bowler. There is no run. The shadows are lengthening.
Has he been savaged by Rod Hull's right arm?
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah, that was weird, man.
We used to like it though, didn't we? Sort of. I mean, it got a bit boring, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because he knew what he was going to do every time.
Didn't
When he
he
first
die-
saw it, it was
Didn't
good.
he die on top of his house or something?
He died trying to fix his aerial. Yeah.
Did he
Fell
get
off-
was it a lightning strike? He
No, I
fell
think it
off.
fell off the roof, I think, didn't
Fell
it?
off the roof.
Pretorius in back of a length, defended by Curran. Curran has 5 rather fortuitous runs. Pope has 30.
Was he pushed by Emu?
Or by Michael Parkinson.
The next Leah says, to be fair to Buttler, the rest of the team aren't that good either.
No, I know what you're saying, but he's not a good enough wicketkeeper, and he's not. To me, he's been given too many chances now.
And Tom M at Razimak says, after this ball,
Pretorius again, driven, a more pleasant shot, finds the middle of the bat, but can't beat. Very busy Philander in the field today, who gets his bulk behind it.
he says, it's time to name a fielding position after our feathered friend. So, long cow corner, hello, Ibis bird.
Ibis
Island,
or Ibis. Ibis. We should have an Ibis position, which is somewhere just behind cover, slightly unorthodox. Not all the way to the fence, but not in normal positions. Defended as it's angled in to Curran, who this time defends up the onside of the pitch towards mid-on.
And Dave Wood pretty much summarises everything about the Buttler conversation, which says, Buttler is a luxury you can't afford in an average team.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. I don't know, I feel as if I've been hardened against him because of the 4-day test comment, which may be a little unfair, but I don't know. Here's Pretorius in again, driven. That's a lovely shot from Curran. That's him at his best. Fluent stuff between extra and mid-off all the way to the boundary for 4 runs. I get the feeling with England
Gorgeous
players,
that was. He stood up as tall as he can get and hit
which
it.
is not very tall.
Which is not very tall, and hit it on the up. I mean, it wasn't a half volley by any stretch.
No, he does hit on the up, and that can sometimes get him into a little bit of danger, as it did when he got that inside edge. He's advancing down the pitch a little bit as well, isn't he?
Torres is only in the 70s, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not bowling very quickly at all. And he's bowling predominantly little off-cutters or quick off-breaks. 2 slips in the gully, the final ball of his 11th over, and he's in. Oh, he bowled him! He's bowled him! He's just left that alone. It's just kept on coming. That was an appalling error of judgment by Curran.
Oh,
Can't
dear,
imagine
dear,
what he was
dear.
thinking there. His off stump has been uprooted from the ground. It lies 8 feet back. That's a long way for a man bowling 78 miles an hour. And Curran has gone. Oh, England, our England.
Fucking terrible. Don Best to save the day.
Well, I think the thing is, you spend long enough in this England setup, and even if you were quite good to start with, it's almost that like that they bring you down. They bring you down to a terrible
I mean,
level.
what the fuck is he leaving that for?
You should never leave that. That's way too close, even before it moved so slightly off the pitch.
Well, he's got the angle helping him as well.
Yeah.
It's a very strange decision that from Curran. I don't know what he was thinking there. But there you go.
dear.
He's gone for 9 from 13 balls.
The
and,
only thing...
Well, England 231 for 7, and this
Good
is
strike
actually,
rate.
This is this is actually even worse, I think, than the collapse in Pretoria in the first innings. It's just been miserable the whole day through, really.
And that's just in time for the new ball for the new batsman.
Oh yeah, great. Dominic Best, come back to Test
hasn't-
cricket and face the new ball.
Exactly.
That's if he can survive till the new ball. Who can tell? This is shocking from England. It really is.
The only reason to believe that ball is on height, and you can't be guaranteed of the ball going over the top of the stumps on this wicket at all.
No, not at all.
Well, you know, I have been reduced to almost speechlessness. Can you have speechlessness? Yes, you can. I was going to change at the end of this over, but no one's come in. Can we put out an APB for John and Tony to approach the studio? And when they do, we'll have a change round.
And I'm just going to go for Waz.
Well, you go for a Waz first. And while you're out there, tell them that.
Yeah,
oh, here they come.
Here comes the Hooves.
We'll
give the new man a jingle.
Where's Tony?
It's Dominic Bass, selected for the Euro test, the latest in online.
It's going to be fair in a minute. I think they got a single there, didn't they? 231 for 7. No, they didn't. Maharaj bowls and Pope comes for him. Pope will be upset about this because he's just losing partners at the other end, one by one. I mean, even if he wanted to score a reasonable number of runs, he's not going to have anyone there with him. Anyway, second new ball available in 4 deliveries. So the bear will bring you the new ball. Pope decides I'm going to advance down the pitch. Doesn't get there. In the end, has to turn it into the onside. Chips it up in the air a little bit towards Elgar. But Pope has to think, what do I do now? Do I try and get some quick runs here, or do I have a look and see if Bess can survive?
Do I stick or do I
I think he'd have
twist?
to sit and...
He's got to have a look at Bess,
He's
hasn't
got to
he?
have a look at Bess.
Maharaj in. Pope forward, defends to the man at Shormadov.
I could just
And
write
there is
tomorrow's
no run.
headline now. Maiden Test century for recalled Bess.
Oh,
Drags
that
England
would be
to-
nice.
Well, actually, I don't want to sort of get ahead of myself, but I did notice that his total aggregate of runs at the moment is 111. Worried or not? Get those feet up in the air, driven by Pope to extra. Pretorius Fields, no run. 1 ball remaining, then the new ball to finish off this dreadful performance from England. Really poor. It's just been poor throughout the day, really. 231 for 7. And Maharaj comes in. He goes back to that one. Straight delivery, which he just defends into the offside. That is the end of the over. 231 for 7. The next thing you hear will be a marketing jingle played by that man, Tony.
Yep, you owe us all right. You think this alternative cricket commentary stuff comes cheap? Well, we need some dollar bills to help pay our bills, so please go to patreon.com/GorillaCricket and sign up to make a regular monthly donation. You know there is literally nothing like Gorilla Cricket's coverage, so don't be tight. Dip into your virtual pocket and throw some cash our way. See, Rihanna knows. Patreon.com/GorillaCricket.
For fuck's sake, this is poor. So many scores in the 30s, and no one kicking on. The wickets, to be fair, it doesn't look as flat as we all thought it was. That's maybe the only saving grace. England have got a bowl next, and who knows? Until both sides are batted, you don't know. But 231 feels very short.
I think it is short. I don't think there's any question about that.
I don't think you need 450 though.
It's woefully short.
It's woefully short. 280, 300 might be.
It's 100 short. I
Yeah,
would say.
yeah. Oh,
That's out.
Is that out? First ball? Fucking is as well, isn't it? Jesus Christ. Don Bess is not getting his maiden Test century. And, you know, you can't blame him. He's been called into a squad because of fucking illness. The second spinner isn't being picked because they don't think he's good enough, so why the fuck is he out there? And then he's been called, probably hasn't played cricket. He's been off season for what, 2, 3, 4 months? Didn't even think, was he playing in an A squad? I don't know. He's come out and faced Philander, who's got an average of 22. First up with a new ball, and what's he done? I mean, he's gone a mile off the pitch and in the air. And he's just got a nick through to Quinton de Kock. England are in a shower of shit.
Yeah, that was a shot of a man who's out of touch. And,
Well, I
being-
don't know if
being
he's out of
asked to
touch.
do
Maybe
a job that's
not played.
Because he's not having a chance to be in touch.
Exactly,
That's
you know.
the problem.
Anyway, it was, of course.
Oh, for fuck's sake, this is just ridiculous. you know what? I bet we murdered him in the one-dayers.
Well, I hadn't even begun to think about those. I think, I mean, gosh, when you think about the last time at Cape Town, it was a run fest, wasn't it?
It was, but this wicket doesn't seem to be like that. There's always been a bit up and down, and this is day one. They did say the wicket was drier than they wanted it to be, so maybe it's going to break up, you know, in which case all sorts of things might happen. Broad's in, number 10, fuck me. We need a jingle for him.
Start the roller.
Start the roller. Yeah, well, Rabada will be bowling full and straight, won't he? Or short at his head.
Two short ones, one pitched up, one good night.
Yeah.
It is this man, anyway.
What would make Broad walk?
That's a good point,
If
actually.
his stumps were knocked down, what would make Broad walk? Caught 5 feet off the ground, what would make Broad walk? If he trod on his stumps, what would make Broad walk? If God was one of the arms, what would make Broad walk? Broad walk.
I love that jingle.
Broad!
Well,
Well,
Dominic Best got himself a golden duck, which is a bit unfortunate, and you can't blame him. He's been called into the squad. Maybe do something with the ball. I think they're woefully short on runs here. They're 231 for 8. They should be 231 for 4 or 5 if they wanted to get a decent score. But they're not. Once again, Grant Smith is going to do us, isn't he? But this time from the fucking management box. That's swinging in to Stuart Broad, and tries to work on the leg side, misses it, comes with his pad, balloons out to cover, and there's no run. I'm almost speechless, Tone.
Well, it has happened
So they
before.
put another set of stumps up there, and he's played that from the second off stump, i.e. 3 stumps wide. But you can't, you know, there's no point having a go at bloody Bess, is there? He's come in at number 8, number 9 to face a new ball. Broad gets one. He's worked into the leg side and he wants off strike and he gets it. Pope will take strike. Now, what does Pope do here? Does he
I think he just
try and pushes on the score and then he gets himself out?
I was looking for our new ball jingle, actually.
Don't know where that'll be.
Hiding somewhere.
Yeah, it'll be there somewhere.
I think he has a slog. That's what I think he. That's what
But
I
yeah,
think
but he has
does.
a slog and he gets out. I mean,
Well-
Broad is capable of getting 20.
Not against Philander and Rabada he isn't.
Well, he might get it in 5 shots. That's his thing.
I would just have a go now if I was Pope.
Oh well.
There's no
he's-
blame attached to him. He's been left high and dry.
No, he has been left behind right. When he gets right across the stump, he tries to finagle that down to third man and looks ugly at the same time, misses it, and very close to the edge, but it doesn't get anything on it. It goes through the Quintercock and there's no run. It would be in.
It's not, you know, I know I'm looking in extras. That's only because I've gone to all the obvious places.
It'll be in quips or in play, selected in play, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's where I was. And it's not
No, yes it is. Number 5. You're just blind.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Dear oh dear. Philander up to the crease, bowling to Pope. Ooh, that's another drive, and it's going in the air, and he's tempting him with his wide full balls, and he's beating the edge once more.
They
goes
did
to
definitely
court,
take
no
the new
run.
ball, did they?
Yeah, it's a new ball.
Here it is. Then.
Man, that was close to the edge. And Philander raises his hands. Oh God.
Well, this is good tactics from Philander because he knows that
Well, he's got to go after the
Pope's
ball.
got to go after the ball
Yeah.
and chase it, so he's throwing it out a little bit wider.
And full, enticing the drive, isn't he? That one's straighter, and it clipped nicely. There is a man down there. Damn. And,
But it means he's pinched the bowling, which is good.
which is good.
I'm
And
just
we'll
trying
get
to
a
think
single.
which has been the most frustrating and annoying of dismissals. I suppose Curran, although you know being lower in the order, he shouldn't be in that
that's
position,
poor.
but clearly
And leaving a ball and getting
the
bowled.
right armour was coming around the wicket to spear the ball into him and cramp him, cramp the left-hander for space. And it was on exactly the line. It didn't even move that much.
No, it just went straight on. He just left
So
it.
it was just a curious leave,
Yeah.
just to watch it pin.
The only thing you can
his
think he thinks
stump
is it's going to
cult.
go over the top of the stumps, but as we've seen, the ball isn't bouncing as much here as it was in
no,
Centurion.
no, indeed not.
You know,
I think the most disappointing have to be Root and Stokes, really. You know, Root
Stokes was a shocker.
Root
yeah.
doesn't get his hands down properly to a short ball, takes his eye off it completely, and Stokes just plays a shocking shot, having done nearly all the hard work.
Buttler goes in with that crew, doesn't he?
Well, Buttler.
That's a terrible
Well,
shot.
the problem is Butler's not a Test batsman.
No.
So he gets out playing a dab shot while showing all three stumps to the bowler.
And getting right because the stumps are playing on the walk. Everything you shouldn't do.
You know,
defended back down the track was the bowls to Pope, and there's no run.
That would be a perfect class in how not to play a Test match stroke, really.
Pope took one for the team. Was it? Wasn't Centurion, because he didn't play at Centurion. It must have been in New Zealand where he was.
He got 70 in
edging on his 100 towards his 100, and he just
that was when we got 450, 460 in the first innings, wasn't it?
Runs on.
It's in the second testing.
But
New
I
Zealand
think genuinely,
defended out to cover, no run.
Yeah, I would be inclined if I was him just to play my normal game. You know, what's the point of him thrash, bash, crash? He's there to bat as a proper batsman for England. Keep doing it and try and trust.
I mean,
Broad and Jimmy just to keep him company. The only concession to that would be he's going to always have to look for those singles at the end of the over, isn't he? And he's always going to need to do that.
Well, I mean, there was
an
an interesting article in the Guardian yesterday, actually, shorts, and he ducks underneath it. There's Pope, there's no run. You can think 2 years ago, our 5 to 9 or whatever it was averaging more than our 1 to 5.
Yeah, it was very lopsided.
It was very lopsided. And the article in the Guardian yesterday was saying how much the averages have dropped, and so the top 4 or 5, the averages dropped, but the middle order, that sort of powerhouse that was getting us out of trouble and need every match, has collapsed pretty much in runs. So therefore, these low totals are to be expected, really. Rabada is in, and Pope tries to squirt that past Gully, can't quite get it past him, and there will be no run. 2-3-3 for 8. England, really poor display. Got themselves into half decent positions throughout the day, but they just kept losing wickets at the wrong time, which is, we say this pretty much every match. It's quite annoying.
Well, yeah, just one player goes on and gets
a decent
130 to
score.
150.
Yeah.
Then you'd be looking at 400, and you'd go, well done, England.
Exactly. But there's been no scores like that. Well, that's cut down to third man. Is there a man going to get around? There is a man going to get around. A Maharaj, I think, down there. Probably a deep point. Backward.
Leaves Broad just one to face.
Yep.
Lots of tweets coming in. Jeff Perkins says, surely the military are preparing to recapture Calais on the 1st of February. Not quite sure what that relates to.
Yeah.
But Clive Brooks says, Pope 100, England out for 350 is something we hope for, but we realise that Disney don't do cricket.
Yeah.
Peter Moore, my very good friend Peter Moore. Good afternoon, Peter. Actually tweets in response to my tweet from earlier and says, agreed, John, I've always said Buttler is a better one-day player than Test player. Folks should be playing.
Well, there's a lot of people think like that. Oh man, Ed Smith does not. I don't know. Yeah, maybe there's something to be said for replacing him. Oh Jesus fucking Christ!
One.
It just needed one ball. Shit, I was going to bet on next wicket being bowled as well, and I didn't. Broad has basically not even offered a shot at that. I think he was expecting a short ball, but Rabada, being the smart man that he is, first up bowled a very full delivery, in fact a Yorker, and Broad didn't even attempt a shot at it, and his stumps have been splayed. He's gone for 1 off 3. England are fucked. 2, 3, 4 for 9. Send him off.
All of the dreams that I dreamed were mine.
No, it's fine. No, I think it's just fine. They're just checking for the no ball, but it looks okay to me. And he was definitely expecting a short ball there, wasn't he? And he couldn't adjust in time to jab his bat down even, and he's just let it under and takes walking off. Can't blame Broady.
I think Anderson needs to come in ahead of Broad. I said that in the last Test match. Broad's just waiting to be out, really.
So that's the
these days.
second golden duck as well of the innings, am I right? Yes.
No,
Bess.
Broad,
it's not
Broad got
golden duck,
one.
you got a run.
Oh, I missed that.
Broad got one.
So only Don Bess has
Yeah.
succumbed first ball.
But just too many innings in the 30s. You know.
Well, the new man is going to be this chap. And he might be thinking, well, I've been here before. Not Cape Town, although obviously he has.
Yeah.
But here we are, in trouble. I'm going to have to try and hang around with a batsman and then go straight out and bowl again.
Yep. Well, you know, I don't think you'll have to hang around too long. That Pope has to go for it now, doesn't he? There's no point in fucking trying to hang around with Jimmy. You've got to try and steal the strike.
There's plenty of time left today as well, isn't there?
No, there's about 8 overs, 7 overs left after this. They'll lose 2 for the switch over, which will take 10 minutes.
Well, oh yeah, that's...
And they can go till 4 o'clock here, so they can go another 36, 7 minutes. What's the score now, actually, by the way?
2:34 for 9.
We're in the GPL. We're in the low areas of the GPL.
I'll have a look for you. Let me see. GPL is here, isn't it?
Yeah. Scroll down.
What does it tell you then?
The numbers next to it where it says runs. Not on the chart. Next to it, there's a whole fucking list.
Oh,
of
right.
them.
Gee. Okay. Yeah. I was looking for number of entrants.
Rabada in. Smashed. Good shot by Pope. But he's hit the man out on the boundary and he hasn't taken a run.
So let's say England were to get to 250, say.
Yeah, good luck with that
That's quite
one.
a long way away,
Yeah.
but Ollie Pope might get them there. You lose 2 overs, then 6 overs of South Africa at 3. That's 18, so say 20 on 270 is about the mark, isn't it?
Quite possibly.
220-70 international is held by one entrant, has gone bang on that 270. And we have a number of entries between 267 and 293. I think 293 is optimistic.
Well, Pope's facing up to Philander, who again, you know, he's bowling that. That's a great ball. It's typical Philander ball. Good length on that line outside off stump, nibbling away, and you know, it doesn't get anything on it.
So I would say Lancashire bloke Des and Messi Jez, who range between 268 and 272. If I was a betting man, I'd be betting my
in the
money
game.
on about, in around about those 3 where they are.
Well, I guess it depends. I mean, they won't come out and try and score runs, will they? I mean, they'll be right close to the end of the day. England will be searching for
Yeah,
that
but
one
new
wicket.
ball, it'll ping to the boundary quicker.
If it gets through the slips, yeah, true. Oh, straighter ball, and Philander puts his hands up in the air as to just about Ollie Pope pulls his pad out of the way and gets his bat on it and goes out to mid wicket, and there's no run.
We've fallen behind on tweets somewhat. Durban Oakie's been in touch and said, I guess at least the Bear will be cheered by Liverpool being top of the league.
Absolutely. That's one thing that's going really fucking well.
He also says, well, I guess somebody must have mentioned Rod Hull earlier on. He says Rod Hull fell off the roof trying to fix his TV aerial for the World Cup.
Oh, that was probably your balancing on the chair.
Yes.
In the context of that, was it?
Yeah, indeed. And yeah.
Sound card replacement.
It's just a shame that he didn't. Oh, that's a good shot. Hit square by Ollie Pope. He's going to try and come back for 2, is he? Is he? No, he didn't. So Jimmy Anderson will have to face 2 balls, and Stokes is going off to get changed. No, he's not.
Well, he did just
he just turned around as if to say, I should get changed now.
Is that Bruce French there, who looks a bit like Mick Jagger?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Messi Jez
He
says
looks like
Hendo remains happy with AFC Wimbledon being ahead of the imposters on goal difference.
Oh, there you go. Bruce French looks like he's taking a lot of acid and weed.
He does.
In fact, he looks quite
Look
stoned now,
about
doesn't
him,
he?
doesn't
You sure he's there underneath those sunglasses? His eyes are like saucers.
Adelaide Barmy says Butthead would be devastating for India. I'm not quite sure what the context of that is.
Left alone by Anderson outside the off stump. At least it's not pacey. That's the thing that scares Jimmy. He doesn't like short stuff, but I can imagine he can handle Big Vern in pace, maybe not in guile.
Guile and movement.
And the only good thing is I imagine Anderson and Broad would be pretty pissed off once again with their batting lineup. Might come out a bit fired up. I mean, their line-up is pretty shaky as well. Get a few early wickets from them. Might make a difference. Well, it would make a difference.
Who would we have? Pretorius, of course. Not Pretorius.
Well, Pretorius could be in as a night watch and immediately opening. Left alone outside the off stump, and there is no runs. Anderson leads through the keeper, and that ends at the over. It's 15.
Peter Milan.
Will we? Was Markham opening? Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
He was. So I think Milan would open, wouldn't he? I think
well, I presume so. He's like for like, isn't he? He'll be opening with Edgar.
Jeff Perkins says Curran underdone by Sloth, as in slow, TH. Chris Drew says some of us saddos know the story of Jaffa Cakes, VAT, and the borderline between cakes and biscuits. There really is nothing like a Jaffa Cake. Messi New Jazz says predictable or what? I think he's responding to his earlier tweet where he said it's quite true that a lineup of batsmen playing a shot of ball won't work, but the evidence is this shambles won't work either. Well, proved right on that.
Totally. It's just poor. It's just fucking poor, man.
Benjamin George Nash says Pope to be left stranded at the other end with England stumbling over the 250 run mark. Well, we've settled for 250 right now.
We've settled for 250 right now, exactly. And it's just... It's hard to put words. I'm so pissed off. Rabada is in to Pope, who flashes at one outside the off stump. He's got to have a go at everything pretty much. If it's there to hit, you should have a go. He gets nothing on it, and it goes through to Quinton de Kock. There's no run. New ball has taken, 3 wickets in the space of 3 overs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Predictable.
Well, they're craftsmen.
They are craftsmen.
But so are England. So are England's attack. Don't forget.
Yeah, they are. But you need something to play with, Tone. And 235 doesn't feel like enough. I mean, it could be. I mean, you might get away. I mean, even
zero scoreboard pressure.
Well, exactly. There's zero scoreboard pressure unless you get 4 wickets for 50. And then there is. That's smashed out into the outfield. It should get to the boundary. No, there's a man chasing around for the cover. It's Maharaj. They will get back for 2, and that's all they'll get. Score moves on to 237. Good shot from Pope there. Beautiful drive along the ground. Beat the man at cover. Didn't get enough pace on it. It's Newton's quite a big outfield because it seems quite large square at least. A lot of the time you think it should have got to the boundary now, and it's not.
Anna Forsyth said Dom Bess out without troubling the jingler. Sigh.
Wow. That's hit square. Straight to Maharaj. It's a deep point. And get him. Oh no, he won't get a single because he's not going to take a run because that'll put Anderson on strike. Forgot about that.
That's always a debate though, isn't it? Whether you can say not troubling the scorer when obviously the scorer still has to enter
a dot.
Balls faced.
And a naught.
Way of getting out. And obviously in the case of a jingler has to play a jingle. He's still got to play a jingle to introduce the new batsman, even if he stays 1 ball. Then you've got to play the jingle for him being out.
Yeah. Rabada. Up to the crease, bowl short. And is the uppercut that? He has.
He has. For 6,
Great
I
shot.
think.
Has he got it for 6? If so, that is a fucking
What
stunning
a shot that was.
It was a 6. No, it was a 4. It was a 4.
Oh, was it a 4?
Yeah, he got 35 beforehand. He's on 4. That's a great shot, though. He's just rock back. That's a real one-day shot. But what the fuck?
Improvisation.
That's really good improvisation. He's got it a bit high.
That's come right off the face of the bat.
Yeah, it has indeed. And it's bounced once and then over the top of the stump.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Great shot.
Very clever stuff. We like it, Popey.
I do. I'm impressed by Popey. I like Popey.
Yeah, he can stay.
He can stay.
Not many of the others can, but he can stay.
Exactly. Oh, he's tried it again though. He didn't get hold of that one.
It looks ugly when it doesn't work.
Yeah, it does look ugly when it doesn't work. And it's through the keeper and there's no run. They put back a... They almost... They have. They put back a fly slip, basically. Or has he just gone down to get some drink and he's come back into the slip? I know.
No, it's a slip.
It's a slip. He's just gone down to get a drink. I was going to say something I completely forgot what it was.
Messi New Jazz has said what happened to the long English batting lineup, given they now have 3 number 11s.
Yeah, it's weird. No, that was what I was going to say. Wokes.
Is he fit?
I thought he was. I didn't realise he was. I think it was ill for the last test. I thought everyone had recovered apart from.
But I think they just see Curran as the new pretender and the better option.
Yeah, possibly. Oh, strappled over the top of Rabada down towards the long off boundary. He'll get 1. He's currently going back for 2. They're going to try for 3. Well, Anderson wanted to try for 3, but that's the end of the over, and he won't get to the other end. I'm just going to. Yeah, Pope wanted to come back for 3, but he didn't. England move on to 2-4-3 for 9.
You want me to carry on? Are you joining us? You're just a temporary excursion to the woods. Okay. Well, yes, England in a pickle. Not for the first time this year. Definitely not for the first time this series even. And great disappointment. We're looking at that 2 that potentially could have been 3. Jimmy wanted it. Pope, I think, decided that although it would have got Jimmy to the striker's end for the new over, it was just too risky, and he'd be risking his own neck in the process. So 2:43 for 9, England.
Aidan has tweeted in, Tony, and said, like in club cricket when people sit on the site saying the opposition players are rubbish despite them always beating you, this is how I felt England play test match cricket.
Yes, indeed, and this one is pushed away into the onside, so Jimmy gets his single off the first ball of Philander's 16th over. Played it rather nicely, brings Pope back onto strike, who has faced 111 balls. So it's not quite Nelson's, obviously, but there's an element of Nelson in there. So he'll want to get off that as soon as he is able. The bear returns with a club of Orsine paw. 2:44 for 9. The next voice you hear will be profane.
Sorry, he missed the one ball.
I think he did, actually, yeah.
And Philander, Anderson got a run.
He did. He worked it away very nicely to leg. Did exactly what he was required to do.
Absolutely. Pope on strike. 41 off 111 balls. Works that square. Oh, and they're giving him the single. The Ibis is still there. Still in the fucking same place as well. Yeah, we are keeping an eye on GPL.
Yeah,
don't you worry.
We're on it. We're on it. We're on it.
He's not going to go for that. He's got to beat, basically, a ring field on the fence.
Spangly Sire says, blimey, meetings and lunch and all these wickets fall. I do hope you've been angry about this nonsense.
Yes,
I think we have been.
I think we've been pretty angry.
Very angry.
Des has got quite a broad spread. He's on 225 to 283. 283, 289 would both be scores that would need
too
many.
5 overs left.
Too many.
2 get lost if we have a change of innings. That's defended by Pope back down the track. There's no run. So if they lose a wicket in the 88th over, that'll be the stump. That'll be stumps.
Yeah, it will.
So they've got to get the last wicket in the next 21 balls.
It says minimum overs, remaining today 5.
Yes, after this one. There's 5.3 overs left, and they lose 2.
5.3. So you'd lose.
So you got 3.3. So if they get them out in 3.2 overs, they have to come out and face. Well, will they? I don't know if they will bother. Clips into the leg side, and there's no run. They might have to come out and face a full over actually if they get it in the next 2 overs.
Well, that again throws up. I mean, I suppose
exactly.
England have to consider. Yes, being there in the morning, great, but realistically, it's not going to last long in the morning.
No.
Would Pope just not throw the bat at everything now, and at least then if he gets himself out, they've got the benefit of a couple of overs at South Africa tonight, and a new ball again in the morning.
Well, yeah, you don't want to get yourself out though, do you? I mean, you want
to.
Okay, you hit out, and if you get out, you get out. If he comes down the track and he's gone over the top of mid-off, great shot. It's a bit of a chip. But he's got enough on it. It's going to go away to the boundary. It's 4 runs to Ollie Pope. Moves on to 45. 2:48 for 9.
My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
I mean, if Pope could somehow squeeze out another 30 runs and get on the right side of nearer to 300 and 250, put a slightly a rosier tint on it than it currently is.
I'll tell you what, that only just cleared.
It did only
off.
just. But he's got to make something happen, hasn't he? He got a maiden Test 50 in New Zealand, so I'm not going to say he's going to get his maiden Test 50 because I just realised that before I said it. Just over there.
It was.
His sessions, less than 30 overs, 99 runs. Down a track, that's a better shot. He's clumped that. That's gone all the way, I think. Beautiful shot. I think so.
I wasn't sure.
No,
it's gone for 4.
No, it's gone for 4.
As I say, you'd have seen a different crowd reaction if that was the case.
And England get over the 250, which didn't seem possible.
Likely
a couple of overs ago. And Pope moves on to 49.
Tim says we need to get rid of this mates club too. Pick people on form and not on their relationship with the captain.
Well, quite possibly, but Pope looks like a man, considering Bairstow was in for him and managed about 10 runs in a previous test. That's an upgrade. Losing Rory Burns is a big, loss.
Tom M says almost impossible to believe these days that Broad has 12 Test 50s, the same as Burns and Denley combined.
Well, yeah, it's been an awful lot more tests though. Occasionally, I still maintain if he can get through the short stuff at the beginning of his innings, he's still capable of a 20 to 30. Hey ho. Right, well, Jimmy's going to face up. He doesn't look particularly happy. And Rabada.
Does he ever?
It shouldn't be Rabada. Rabada around the wicket, and he just defends that to the offside, and there is no run.
He played that well, Jimmy.
Yeah, he did.
That's a good ball. The ball just coming around the wicket to him, wasn't he?
Yep. Trying to get it. Well, he's a lefty, isn't he? So he's trying to do what he did to Broad, one imagines. But short, and then very full. We've got Pommy and Bangor, Michael Holding and Athers, if you're listening to Sky. Pommy and Bangor's around the wicket, Bravada. Full, edged. Oh, damn. I wish that could have gone through the slits for 4 runs, but it hasn't. It's been stopped by Gully. It's do a couple of spawny forwards for Anderson. He gets 10 runs. Pope gets another 15, 16, and we're nearly up at 280, which is possible.
Jeff Perkins, I suspect with a large dose of sarcasm, says once everyone's playing the 100, this will all be forgotten.
Well, things are easily forgotten, but it's painful to watch. Rabada in, oh dear, Jimmy just wafts his bat at that. Fortunately, he didn't get anything on it, and it went straight through it. Quinton de Kock, there's no run.
Hayden says their current mentality stops them from being a better than the sum of its parts style side. New Zealand and Pakistan did this for years and then progressed into more competitive test sides because their initial approach kept them in game.
Yeah. I mean, you think, what England were number 1 in the world not that long ago.
Not that long ago.
5, 6
yes,
years ago. Amazing how quickly things change. It took a lot of effort to get there. Rabada tries that Yorker, but unlike Broad before him, he managed to jab the bat down on it.
Yeah, Anderson played it considerably better.
Yeah.
Has to be said. Messi Jazz says, my sense is that the anger has been replaced with sad resignation.
Is he talking about us?
I think he's talking about us there.
Yeah.
No, not.
Well, we've seen it an awful lot before, haven't we?
Not in my case, Jazz. I'm still angry.
I'm angry. I mean, I've seen this pull us. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, you really can't tell until both sides batted. It's a fair thing to say. I think the wicket has enough help in it, and I think it's only going to get worse. Guided by Anderson. Come on, ball. Come on. It's not going to get there, but he should get back for 2. Go for 2 because you don't want to be facing it the next over. You might as well take the next 2 1 ball. And he has taken 2. Good man. Score moves on to 254 for 9.
Des says most 4-day cricket being played in freezing conditions in April and May and then basically in the dark in September. No wonder they're struggling.
This is true. And the only time you get to learn is in the test arena.
Derek Willis says another poor performance from this ODI side. Oh, hang on.
Yes. Well, there is that. I mean, you have to say it doesn't help losing your opener who's got highest score in a series after only admittedly 1 test, but batted pretty well in the first test. Rabada around the wicket to Jimmy. Oh dear, oh dear. I think he was hedging his bets on a Yorker, and then it realised it was short and fenced at it a bit. It rose over the top of his bat and through to Quinton de Kock. There's no run. Pope on 49 is England's top scorer. After Stokes, who got 47 and got himself out, playing a pretty poor shot.
Yeah, he's hats off to Ollie Pope. He's
batted well.
He's batted very well. He's looked solid. He's played some shots.
He has looked very solid.
It's not his fault that
no one else can get.
The rest haven't.
Yes.
Wading through a sea of ineptitude around him.
Yes.
Jeff Perkins says, given the way the score's going, possibly not enough innings in the 30s, Bear.
Well, as that, we're going 2-2-1 for 6 to 2-3-1 for 8.
Yeah.
Which is then 2-3-2 or 3 for 9. No, haven't got the ninth wicket.
Consistent. No, there was a bit of a tumble after 185, wasn't
yeah.
there?
We've lost 4 wickets again for
Stokes.
Well, 4 wickets for 13 runs we lost.
Yeah.
6th, 7th and 8th wickets all went down.
It's that soft Stokes giveaway of his wicket.
Yeah.
Has started the rot. A big sign up saying Nortje in at number 2.
Well, he was a night watchman last time, wasn't he?
A good chance of it then, yeah.
Yeah.
Good chance of it. 4 overs left. But now, hang on.
He's going to have a chance at bowling.
2 for the change.
Yes.
So you got 2 more before.
So they have to get a wicket in this over or the next over and have to come out again.
Indeed.
Nortje is in, cut nicely by Pope, but he won't beat the man down at third man. He doesn't take. He could have got his 50 there, but he decided for the team to not take it.
He's not taken one for the team.
No.
Yeah.
And that's sensible because England don't often have a third man. Saves you an awful lot of runs.
Martin White says, semi-serious question, is Broad still a consistently good enough bowler to compensate for being a total waste of a wicket as a batsman?
Oh, it's difficult to say, isn't it? I mean, he's got 478 odd wickets. Nortje is in, and Pope takes a try back, tries to guide it down towards third man. He gets it down there, but it would be a 1, and he doesn't want to take a 1. Well, you look at how he bowled at Warner against the Australians this summer, and you'd have to say yes. He bowled pretty well. In fact, he was England's best bowler in the Ashes, I'd say. Took his responsibility well, so I don't think you can necessarily say he's not. Who else is, pulling up trees to take over? You said Archer in the summer, but Archer didn't bowl particularly well in New Zealand. Again, Ollie Pope is trying to work it down at third man. There would be a single there, but he's not going to take that one either. He'll take one probably if you can get. They're offering a load of space out in the offside. It's a question of when they bring him in. They'll probably bring him in on a 5th ball. If you can get a single on the 5th ball would be ideal. Just leave Anderson to face one ball, sorry, in this over. As Nortje is up to the crease and he bowls and he just ducks underneath it. Ollie Pope, no run.
Martin White has said to has tweeted to Seismic Shed and said, I do hope you're listening to Gorilla Cricket, but he's responded and said, no, I'm listening to Talk Sport.
Oh.
We'll forgive him for that,
no.
I guess, or perhaps we won't.
Well, England crowd are quite pissed by the looks of things. And a lot of beer, they're in the sun. I guess you can be reasonably happy with that, even if you're unhappy with the day. You're in South Africa, you're on holiday, it's the beginning of a horrible year in England. And you're sitting at a test match in Cape Town. Life could be worse, even if England
Well, yes, it
be.
could. You are absolutely right.
However, if you're in Sydenham, you have to get up at 7:30 in the morning to watch it, or even earlier if you have to get in.
Well, yeah.
Then
I
it might not
dreamt of being in bed at 7:30 this morning.
It could be better. Nortje, 2 balls left in the over. The field has come in on the offside. I imagine that space down at third man will be available. It's pulled though by Ollie Pope. and it's pulled in front of square. And he may well get a boundary out of this, or he may well get 3, and 3 would be the ultimate result. Should have let it go for 4 if you wanted him. Anderson on strike. Dean Elgar is out there, and they did get back for 3. That's perfect.
I'm not sure Dean Elgar, whilst running at absolutely full tilt, had that in his head.
Well, no, well, exactly. But if he had, he would have thought for the extra 1 run, we could probably get to bowl at Anderson next over. Anyway, that's Ollie Pope's 50. Yay! Second test 50, moves on to 52. Well done, sir. He's batted pretty well. And
50 runs.
Deserves that.
Your 50 runs. Well done, well done, well done, well done. 50 runs. Your 50 runs. The job is only just begun.
If he carries on like this, I think he could develop into a good bat. He looks solid. Good technique. Doesn't do these stupid...
Well, don't forget he made, what, a huge 100 towards the end of the county season, having had a large chunk of the season out for...
Yeah, I know.
Through injury, didn't he?
Batted well in New Zealand. That second test got 78 odd, didn't he? Got a ton on a tour.
He's got a little bit of mental fibre as well.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
A lot of these guys don't seem to have at all.
Well, exactly. Yeah, but you wonder whether the team wears it away. Anderson is going to face up and just plays that to a deep set short leg along the ground though. And that ends Nortje's 16th over, 2 for 54. He has England on 257 for 9. Just eke out another 20 runs, 23, 24 runs.
I think that probably ensures that South Africa won't bat tonight.
No, well, if there was a wicket in this over...
Well, no, because they'd count that as a full over, wouldn't they?
Oh, would they?
So,
in that case,
so you
two
still
off.
wouldn't bat, yeah.
Okay, so now we really need to be watching the GPL.
Okay, well, we're on it.
And we're on 257. Who have we got there?
257.
No one.
We had Des on 256 and Des also on 259.
Okay.
So, how many overs did we say we think we have left?
Well, you lose, yeah, 3, but you lose
But
2 for the innings changeover,
Yeah.
and if
So
the wicket
that's
goes
now
down in
academic.
this over, then it's
It will be
included.
close, so yeah.
It'll be included as a full over, in which case that would be it for the day. So any wicket now will be the final score. Other than that, we got-
So yeah, there's a number of play over scores around this point.
I'd imagine so.
We've got, where are we, 257, there's a 259, a 261, a 262 and a 263 and a 264.
Okie dokie. Rabada is in. Kept a little bit low.
Sneaky cuddy, that was deliberately slow ball, I think.
Pope and yeah, a little bit slow. Wasn't that slow? Through Quinton de Kock, no run.
And Messi Jazz, who's away into the stratosphere with an entirely unreachable 293.
Ah, well.
However, that's not his only. He's spreading his options. He didn't just go in high and be damned.
He never does. He likes his 3s and occasionally 8s. Rabada is up to the crease. Ollie Pope just defends that back to the bowler, and there is no run.
Leah has tweeted in and said the Bear forgets that after a few wickets down for South Africa, Quinton is going to swing the cock around.
Well, he is, but he's not
going to do it every time.
He's
though,
not
is
going
he?
to do it every time, you know. Whilst he's more correct than Buttler, it's a similar sort of thing, isn't it? I mean, you heard Safa supporters last test banging on about the same reasons that we don't think Buttler should be keeper of England. They don't think he should be keeper of the West Indies. West Indies? South Africa even. Guided by Pope down towards third man. Maharaj is down there, they won't take the single.
Matt Searle says you've discussed Rod Hull and nobody has done. His funeral was great, but the reception afterwards was terrible. Gag, disappointing.
Yeah, that was the old 2 aerials that met and fell in love, wasn't it?
You can imagine him as a grunt. How old was he when he died? About 78, 80?
I don't think he was
Quite.
that old.
Really?
Rod Hull? No. I don't think so. I'm not sure. He didn't have Emu with him on the roof, I don't think.
I think Emu pushed him. Oh, it's another uppercut, and they haven't got the fly slip isn't down there. Then it's another 4 runs. Good shot, Mr. Pope. And England get above 260. Which didn't look that likely when they were 235 for 9 and Jimmy Anderson was coming out. So you could class this as bonus runs. It's a good shot. Ramped it over the top of the keeper. Let it run onto the face of the bat. Nicely timed. Knew no one was down there. One bounce. 4 again. That's a massive no ball.
It was 63.
It's a huge no ball, and the umpire hasn't picked it up.
How many of those are missed these days, we ask ourselves?
Loads, man.
Loads and loads.
And unfortunately, it never happened on wickets. I don't know why they don't. I find it unfathomable sometimes that they don't A, have a pinger on the line, and B, if a guy is bowling so many no balls or so close to the line all the time, you should be checking the no ball line every time there's a wicket. It happens probably, 60% of the time.
James Imani has waded into the Buttler argument and said, who'd have thought that Buttler would thrash around in one-day mode and then get out for very little just 2 days after talking about how he needed to contribute more? It's pathetic. What on earth is he doing in the team as a keeper when Folks is back here is a mystery.
Yeah, well, there'll be a lot of people saying that. Oh dear,
well,
oh dear.
that's
No, we don't know where
gonna be
that's
out, I
fucking
think.
gone. Is it out?
That's a great catch.
It has been taken. 261. We might have a winner on a GPL. Rabada.
We do.
We do. We have a winner.
It's-
Oh, that's assuming a winner. It's Stumps. 261. Pope's come down a wicket, tried to slap it over the leg side. Came onto him a bit quick, and he's got a top edge. He's been caught down by Philander at long
Let's
leg.
do this first. Just hold you. The winner will know they've won.
It's a no ball. It's a fucking huge
It's
no
a
ball.
huge no ball.
It's a huge no ball.
A huge,
He
huge
did bowl
no
one.
ball.
I did say the ball before.
Massive no ball.
So it will be a no
Wow.
ball. England are not out. 261 isn't the final score. The GPL carries on. And it's 262 England are on. They didn't cross, clearly, because Anderson's been sent
Seagrave
back.
Saab, who will have just been working out how to spend, 70 odd quid?
Now it's moved on to 262, so who's that?
So it's now Des.
Des. I want Des
262.
to win, because Des has invested a fucking lot of money in the GPL.
Well, Des on 262, Messi Jez on 263. And Des
Yeah,
on
Messi Jez has won it about 6 or 7 times.
267.
He's a bit like Phil the Power Taylor when it comes to GPL. And
That's, wow.
he always picks the same. As long as it ends in a 3, he's happy.
Not
you know?
Jockey Wilson then.
No, not Jockey Wilson. Day 1, third session. So who's facing? Do we know? Was that the end of the over? It wasn't the end of the over. There were 2 balls left in the over. Did they not cross?
Well, it's a no ball, so they've got to bowl it again anyway.
Yeah, they have
yeah,
got to bowl
they
it again.
do.
So that's an extra ball. We got. Well, they can go for another 6 minutes, so they should get the extra 2. They should get another 2 overs in after this.
Jeff Perkins has said Pope is doing a good job here of shepherding the Safa upper order.
Yeah.
It's quite an interesting way of looking at life, I guess.
Well, he got himself a bit cramped. He came down the track, and Rabada saw him come and bunged it in short. He just couldn't get over the top of it.
I assume
They did cross.
this is a message.
So that presumably that's 2 runs.
But does them crossing apply?
Ah,
in a
well,
situation of a
no, because
ball?
Pope didn't get to the other end, did he? So
Ah.
then he actually could have been run out. But mind you, he was sent off, caught, and he thought he'd been caught. The no ball wasn't called. So they're trying. No, so we got an extra run. So he actually did come down to this end, and we've got an extra run. So we're on 263 now. I don't know why we got the extra run, because I think he started walking off back the other end, didn't he? Unless he had to walk past the stumps to get off out, in which case he'd have passed this end, and Anderson had got in at the other end, and it will be a single. Defended the next ball by Rabada. Sorry, by Anderson off Rabada into the covers, and there's no run.
So Messi Jez will be willing a wicket now.
Yeah, he will be, of
He's
course.
the owner of the 263 bet or gamble or whatever it is.
It's a big no ball. I did say to you, didn't I, on the replay of the
It
one
was.
before?
It was a
so
shocker, wasn't it?
Yeah,
No, you
I
spotted that well. And like you, I've done a bit of umpiring. Well, as you know, Ben. But
yes, yes, I know. Defended by Jimmy.
Oh, they're not gonna run.
No, they're not going to run because it's the last ball of the over. And Jimmy
someone has said to Jimmy, Messi Jez is on 263. Jimmy, don't score a run.
Now they've put it back
Now
down
it's
to
back to
262.
262. Oh, poor Messi Jez. 1 minute.
It's been taken away from you,
What
Messi.
God gives with one hand, he immediately snatches away with another.
And now I think that's another no ball because that's because
no, that's the
no,
one
it's
we saw
not
before,
because
isn't
Jimmy
it?
Anderson's foot on what the other no ball they showed was on the crease, and that ball his foot is behind the crease. That's the out ball. I think the other one was another no ball earlier in the over. It's the one I pointed out, I think.
I assume Greg Smith says is sending this to you, Bear. He says, easy Tiger, small puffs. Enough said. Says painful. We've had painful ? We've had years of practice watching this.
We have. I mean, it's not as painful as the 90s because we were truly terrible in the 90s.
Neymar Butlins says it's 7:45 here in LA. Just waking up and reading the news that our players are getting football injuries and getting thrashed by the Springboks. Has the whole world gone mad?
It's a Proteus. We'll let you get away with that one, but yeah, it's true. Nortje is going to continue. There's 2 overs left in the day. They have fannied around a bit for that last over and no ball and figuring out what's going on with the scorecard. This might end up being the last over. Nortje is in, bowls, and it's thrashed by Pope out square to the man who's on the point boundary. They won't run for that. 262 the score remains. What's the score in the 260s that no one's on that I want them to get because I want to keep the cash?
263, 264. There's no one on 265 or 266.
Okay, so we need a 4.
And then nothing.
And then nothing. A 3. A 3 will do. They do run 3s because obviously we want to get down the other end and get runs.
Another single would see.
Another ramped little 4 over the top of the slips. That'd be quite handy.
Dancing little jigs of delight.
Of course. The dogs will be happy. Nortje is in and Pope just guides that down to third man. It won't run for that either.
Tom M says, hasn't Broad had a really good 12 to 18 months with the ball? Probably should be batting 11 though.
He's had a pretty good time with the ball. He bowled quite well in New Zealand as well, without much effect. Got 4 wickets in one of the innings in the 2 tests, I think.
Arthur Patricia says Ollie Pope. I assume that's greater than the Pope because it's a mathematical sign. Next in his sight's Alexander Pope.
Nortje in and defended by Pope out to mid-off where Rabada just ambles around and fields it. Not going to bother running that
So this
single.
should be the last over of the day.
Well, it could be. There is one more over after this. It depends whether time is up at the end of this over, really.
You'd have to assume Ollie Pope would try for a single then, so he's facing first in the morning.
I don't think he'd be worried about that so much. I'm hoping he tries for 4 or 3. It's me against our GPL players. That's the boss man. Nortje is up to the crease. Bowls thrashed out to the offside, out towards backward point, won't take the run. If he does that again, he'll probably take it, in which case Jimmy will be on strike for last ball. And Messi Jez will win.
Well, no one's.
What's Dez's next number? 26? No, Dez is on 262.
262.
Which is what he's
so
on
he
now.
needs no runs at all.
He needs no runs at all. Actually, I want Dez to win. Sorry, Messi Jez. I want Dez to win because Dez has invested a lot of time and money in the GPL over the last couple of months. And
yeah, I got confused because in my head we'd already passed 263 and I'd forgotten that they'd put it back again. So 262, yeah, Dez is
if anyone takes the cash, I want it to be Dez. So
Messers.
I'm sorry, Messers, but you know you've won it a lot. Possibly 1 ball left in the over. If they get it in quick, they might start. If they have to start the second over before the end of this, before the clock strikes, what would be, I don't know what time it would be over there. But it's
Alec
4 o'clock
Nortje
here.
does not have the look of a man who's desperate to get through this ball.
No, I don't think
quickly,
he's
does
gagging to get another over in, is he really?
I think
Maharaj is
in the heads of most
looking
of them,
aghast.
this is it for the day.
Could well be. See what happens.
Will
Last
Pope
ball
try and
possibly
nick a
of the day.
single?
Well, yeah. It's down
He's
the leg
not
side.
allowed to.
He's not going to. It's going to be a dot. The score is on 262. Is that stumps? Does Des win? Des! Des, you've won, my man. Good for you. I'm glad you won it. Sorry, Messers, but Des has deserved that win. He's played large for the last few innings, and he's got his reward for it. So Ice Joe will be sending you about £102. Should probably get you back just about what you put in. But there you go. That's what happens. That's gambling. And that's the end of the day. England remain on 262 for 9. Did you? There you go.
He did, but no cigar.
You were 1 run out.
You were a no ball away.
You were a no ball away, and a confused,
runaway
scorer as well. That stumps on day 1. England are 262 for 9. It's poor, But it could have been worse. They were 2-3-5 for 9 or 2-3-4 for 9, and we didn't think they'd probably get out. Pope was caught down in the outfield by Philander an over and a half ago, but it was a no ball by Rabada, and so he remains out there. And England will come out in the morning, probably for about 3 balls, knowing us. But that will be it. We'll be there. I could give you the scorecard if I can get my phone up.
I've got it here. Do you want it?
Do you want to go and give the scorecard then? Give the scorecard.
I can do that. Right, well, it's a tale of woe. England won the toss, of course, and elected to bat. We all thought that was exactly the right thing to do. I think we still do. Zach Crawley had a point to prove, but he was snaffled behind off the bowling of Philander by Quinton de Kock for just 4. Dominic Sibley again promised, flattered to deceive. 34 before he was caught de Kock.
He's inching up in scores though, only by 3 a time, but you know.
Joe Denley was cleaned up by Keisha Maharaj on 38. Joe Root, he was going to play a shot he won't look back on with any pride. He was caught behind by de Kock off the bowling of Nortje. Stokes, he probably is the one most culpable, having played a splendid 47. He sort of spooned the gentlest of catches to Dean Elgar at mid-off, so he was caught off the bowling of Nortje. Ollie Pope, who as we know is still there, not out, on 56. Josh Buttler, he shouldered arms, and oh no, he didn't. It was he was caught behind Pretorius for 29. Sam Curran shouldered arms, and his off pole went steepling backwards. Dom Bess, it was a brief moment of joy as he came in, took guard, and was caught behind, and then walked back for a golden duck. Stuart Broad was cleaned up by a slower Yorker from Rabada, which he played all over the place. Jimmy Anderson is keeping company quite proficiently with 3 off 12, so he is there with as a not-out batsman with 3. Ollie Pope on 56. The bowling, very quickly. Philander 2 for 46. Rabada 2 for 63. Anulik Nortje 2 for 54. Keisa Maharaj 1 for 68. And Dwayne Pretorius 2 for 62. Why? 262 Des, it's right in front of me. Now I'm confused. Anyway, that was the scorecard. We will be back tomorrow.
Indeed.
I won't tomorrow, but
I'll be back.
I believe you will be.
I am tomorrow's Saturday, isn't it?
It is Saturday.
Yeah, I'm in tomorrow.
It's
I'm not on
over
Sunday.
Christmas.
Sunday I've got kids football. It's back starting again. Season starts, restarts again. I've got a 10:15 somewhere in SE9. Right, you want to play theme tune then, don't you? We want to see anything last tweets? Last tweets.
Well, Messi New Jazz says, I have now distant memories of England's middle and lower order repeatedly digging them out of trouble.
Yes.
Story of collapses in this series. Test 1 innings 1 7 for 39. Test 1 innings 2 6 for 46. Test 2 innings 1 4 for 13. Cricketing View says, is it still a collapse if it happens this regularly?
No, it's just normal fucking whatever.
Matt Searles tweeted in and said, EBC selection meeting. We need a better keeper than Buttler and Bairstow. What about that guy from Surrey? Great idea, let's pick him. So he announced his squad, naming Pope as reserve keeper. And Messi New Jazz says, Jimmy has batted number 11 in every test since November 2015. To put him above Broad would be an aberration. He also says, you're dead to me, Bear. I've invested at least twice what I've won in the GPL.
Sorry, Messi. Sorry.
But says, nonetheless, very happy to see Des win.
Yes. See, Des has pumped in about 20 quid a day quite often. Taken loads of numbers and just seemed to miss out. I mean, there was one day he missed out to a guy, Lancashire bloke, who put in 1 entry or 2 entries, and he put in 20 entries, and Lancashire bloke won it.
Life can be like that.
Life can be like that as well. So you know.
Anyway,
I'm sorry, Messi.
Life's a bitch, and then you die, as
yes,
they say.
Exactly.
Shall we say a fond farewell?
A fond farewell. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll be on air at about 8:20. Until then, goodbye.
Take care.
Good night, all.
Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover. time has come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pasco, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. We would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Savile,